Hello, hello. I am still not feeling great, so we shall see how long this will go, but I did want to do a stream for the first time in a while. I missed doing it. So, hopefully... Wait, what is this? Ah. I've forgotten all my little assets I have off screen. But, hopefully this will go well. I don't remember where we left off. God, we're still at episode 1. Oh, this game's long. Hold on. Where are my saves? Why? Oh, I think I... No! 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 Okay. I missed that one. I was about to say that, I didn't want to go through everybody getting murdered again. Ay. In that case, the culprit... God fucking damn it. The culprit must be among us. In the middle of the seemingly endless rain, none of us could break the silence. So yeah, witches don't exist. Oh right, freaking oh my god. Oh, sorry. My apologies for that. Maria went a little bit cuckoo and showed off her knowledge of the witches or whatever. She had some pretty creepy facial expressions for that. That still gets me. Freaking so dramatic. That glass shattering. In the middle of this seemingly endless rain, none of us could break the silence. Until someone did? Oh. No, until glass shattering did. Lunch ended, and the servants removed the tableware and went to the kitchen. The wind and rain neither weakened nor strengthened, and the island remained cut off from the outside world. First, it seemed as though Natsuhi planned to stop anyone from taking a step outside the room. The room. Did not kill her. I did not. Oh, hi, Battler. I apologize for that. Sorry, give me one sec. When it came time to prepare lunch, she finally realized this would be impossible. However, in order to avoid having anyone alone in the kitchen, she told the 3 servants to go together. The buddy system is good for times of murder. Ideally as many as you can, because the likelihood of that many people being in cahoots is low. You don't want the, say on Eva and Hideyoshi, Uncle Hideyoshi, as the buddies, because they could very, very easily be in cahoots. Cahoots is just a fun word to say. Because of that, the servants were the first ones given the right to leave the stuffy parlor, which had been packed with 11 people. I bet they're not even social distancing. The true murderer is Corona. Since breakfast had immediately followed that terrible incident, preventing most of us from eating much, everyone tore into their lunches in silence. Yeah, that is understandable. Hmm.
私が洗いますから、源氏さんとカノン君は少し休んでいてくださいな。
I will wash the dishes so you can rest a while, Kanon-kun, Genji-san.
何か飲みます？
Do you want something to drink?
私は結構。
I don't need anything.
カノンは
Konon. And then he's gonna say he doesn't need anything because he's furniture. Get it? Also, captions called him condom. I feel like that's very rude captions. He is furniture, he is not a condom. Oh dear, oh dear.
僕も結構です。
Mm-hmm. What a surprise. I don't need anything either.
お二人とも早朝
You
から
two
大
must
変
have
だっ
been
た
so
でしょ。
busy and so early in the morning.
参ってしまうのも
It's
仕
no
方
wonder
ない
you're
ことで
worn
すよ。
out. Be like that. The only noise was that of Kumasawa washing the dishes, which resounded throughout the kitchen. Genji and Kenon sat in some chairs a short distance away, their eyes lightly closed. Or maybe they're so tired from doing all that murder. No, I don't know. I mean, right now, the most obvious culprits are, well, Aunt Ava feels most likely. However, the game has pointed out that it could be a case where they are trying to frame Aunt Ava, which is a possibility. So it's, I feel like we simply do not have enough information quite yet. As always. It feels like even though we've been playing this for quite a while, we have not really learned too much. Well, we know about the people. The island itself is quite the mystery. I don't see that changing. Just as Kumasawa had said, those two had probably built up a great deal of fatigue. But that didn't mean they could let it show in front of the relatives. Avoiding that was one of their virtues. I think now of all times it's fine, my guys. You can let it go. Ay ay ay. After the silence had continued for some time, Kanan opened his mouth and muttered.
Shannon.
Yeah, oh, I forgot that was his sister. Man.
どうしてあんなひどい死に方を。
Shannon, why did she have to die in such a horrible way?
死に方のことは忘れなさい。
Forget about the manner of her death.
ただ
It
運
was
がなかっただけ。
nothing more than bad luck. I mean, to be fair, she, like everyone else, had her head smashed after death, so hopefully her actual death was much less painless, much more painless, much less gruesome. I can't word hard.
そうですね。
You're right.
ただ
It was nothing more than
運
bad
がなかった
luck.
だけです。
They both fell silent once again. Kanon's expression was filled with grief.
シャノンちゃんが死んじゃったなんて
To think that Shannon-chan's actually dead.
未だに
I
信じ
still
られま
can't
せん
believe
よ。
it.
本当にかわいそう
Poor
に。
thing.
もう会えないなん
Not
て
being able to
嘘
see
みた
her
いです
again
よ。
feels like a lie.
もう一度
I just wanted to see her
あの子
smiling
の笑
face
顔が
one
見
more
たかっ
time.
たのに。
Kumasawa spoke with her back facing them. After all, Kumasawa hadn't seen Shannon's corpse, so she had no trouble mentioning Shannon's face. When Kenon heard those words, it reminded him of how only half of Shannon's face had been left, and his grieving expression twisted even further. Unless Kumasawa was there doing the murder, and she's saying this just to twist the knife even further. No, I don't know.
どうしてベアトリーチェ様はシャノンを
Why did Beatrice-sama do that to Shannon?
生贄が欲しかったなら
If she wanted a sacrifice, there were plenty of others to choose from. Well, she tried, presumably, to take, what's her name? Natsuhi. But it didn't work for whatever reason. Well, we know presumably the reason is that it was Natsui's daughter gave her that charm.
どうしてどうして
Why? Why?
ただ運が
It
悪
was
かった
nothing
だけ
more
だ
than bad luck. Sounds like the servants know a bit more. I mean, I assume they would. They, you know, their master probably told them something about it. Some kind of necessary preparations they would have to take for this day.
少しの運がたがえば
If we were less lucky, you or
シ
I
ャノン
might
の
have
代
been
わり
lying
にあ
out
そこ
there
に
instead
横
of
たわって
Shannon.
いたのはあるいは
Or it could have been
他の
someone
誰
else
かだったのか
entirely.
もしれない全ては
Everything is left to fate. That's right, the roulette of fate, or whatever that weird guy said.
源氏様
Genji-sama.
奥様の部屋の扉
He
に
said the door to Madame's
血のよう
room
な
was
跡がつい
stained
てい
with
たとおっ
traces
しゃ
of
っていました
something
ね
like blood, right?
シャッターに書かれ
The
ていたの
same
と同
substance
じ
that
も
was
ので
painted on the shutter. Yep. Hold on. Where is... I can never find hair ties when I need them. Which is weird, because I always need them. I'm gonna be right back. I found one. Apologies for that. Tie my hair up. It's annoying when I'm just sitting. You know how it be. I haven't really talked about what happened while I was been gone. I just haven't been feeling great, just like mentally and physically, which is not a good combo, by the way. But I think I'm getting better. And I really just wanted to stream. I also went to a cat cafe yesterday, which was a lot of fun. That was good. But yeah, the same substance. Indeed.
気味の悪い
It was
跡
an unsettling mark.
まるで
Almost as though someone with
血のついた
blood-stained
指で
fingers
ドア
had
ノ
been
ブを
trying
引き
to
抜こ
pull
うと
out
す
the
るかのよ
doorknob.
うだ。いや
No, scratched
扉
through
を
the
かき
door.
破ろうとしたのか。
Scratched through the door? We don't have any, like, animals that we know of, do we? There's no animals around that we know of particularly. Right? As far as I know. Nothing I can think of.
そんな気味の悪い
That
跡
sort of unpleasant mark. So does this mean Beatrice-sama came to visit Madame's room
そして
and tried to open the
扉
door,
を開こうとしたけれど開けなかっ
but couldn't? Oh, is he trying to get at... Oh, well, Beatrice tried to open the door, couldn't, and then took, Shannon as a replacement. Genji thought back to the time he had seen those traces of blood on the door to Natsuhi's room. The substance sticking to the door around the doorknob, the marks of something scratching against the door. What else could cause scratch marks? Besides just fingernails. Maybe I'm thinking about it too hard. I don't have a clear theory yet, but I know it's definitely more complex than it seems. Oh my, apologies. It's always more complex than it seems. It definitely appeared as though someone had tried to open the door, but couldn't. But wait, so either we're going with the, oh, it is actually some kind of spirit that was warded off by that, toke, the little charm, or it was someone who's like, I don't want to say like role-playing as the spirit, but then they would have had to know that Jessica gave the charm to Natsuhi to do this, because otherwise they would have just... Anyways, it's very interesting. But hey, D-Type, how are you? How have you been? It's been a while since I've streamed, but I'm happy to be doing it again. Just woke up? Nice. Pretty similar here. Well, good morning to you. Happy to see you drop by. Yeah, we are in an interesting...
どうして
How... Oh, is he wondering how Beatrice was repelled?
奥様は生贄を免れたんだ
Yep. But wait, if someone else knows... Does someone else know? How did the Madame avoid being chosen as a sacrifice?
もし奥様が選ば
Only
れ
she'd been chosen. Oh, that's kind of dark, man. He's saying if only she'd been chosen, my sister wouldn't have been chosen. That's kind of brutal, man. I mean, I get it. This part's very brutal, but yeah, I hope you've been well, D-Type.
シャノンは
Shannon wouldn't.
シャノンは
Shannon
死
wouldn't
なな
have
くて
had
済
to
んだの
die.
に
Hi, Jess. Hello. Welcome to Murder Times. How are you, Jess? How are you? Uh-oh. Just then, a loud, sharp noise came in from the hall. Normal? Both of them turned around, surprised. Normal, you guess? Well, I hope you can have a nice chill time here while we learn about murders. Auto scooter, what? Interesting. What is that? That sounds fun. That does sound fun. Turned around surprised. What is this sharp noise?
面白そうな話じゃねえか。
Ooh. Holy Gully. What is that? I have not heard of that. Please enlighten me if you would. But I have not heard of much, so that's not too much a surprise. Interesting chat you're having there.
俺も混ぜてくれよ。
Let me join in too. Oh, Battler. You can't keep your nose to yourself. Okie dokes, sounds good, Jess. Before any of the servants realized it, Battler was standing in the doorway to the kitchen. Let's hope it's a bit more appropriate of a video than the pictures you sent me the other time. About that very interesting anime. That's definitely about photography. I still remember that.
バトル様
Battler-sama.
これは失礼いたしました
How rude of us. No, it's fine. It is? Alright, okay. Hold on, let me move. It's not really a good spot to put the chat where it's more visible, is there? Well, actually, if I do it like that... There we go. Okay, that's better for reading. Genji-san and Kanan-kun stood up, surprised, and hastily bowed. But I didn't care about stuff like that. I was more concerned with continuing their discussion. Oh, are we talking? He wants. He's like, what was on the? What was on the door? Because interestingly, there's another theory that I didn't really think about. It could be that was Natsuhi put that there herself. When she was like trying to get back into the room after killing everyone, but don't don't know. It's interesting. That is a very cute. Those are some very cute emotes. You always have the cutest emotes. But yeah, I hope you've been well. I know it's been a while since I streamed. And I wanted to rectify that. Hold on, I can bring up her her profile. Yeah, the captions doesn't get it very well, but it's her. Ushiromiya Natsuhi. Yeah, wow, captions kind of butchered. Oh, it got Natsuhi, but it could not get Ushiromiya. Ushiromiya? Whatever. But that's Natsuhi, yeah. Also, 6 people are dead. Woohoo! I told them I was going to the bathroom, so they'll let me go. I thought I'd suffocate if I was locked up in that room any longer. Oh, they're so cute! I'll have to check out Timid. I haven't heard of them before. But I mean, there's so many people on Twitch. I can't hear about everybody. I can't even follow everybody since they've got a that follow cap limit that I have hit before. That was funny. I was about to come ask you guys for some water, but then I overheard something pretty interesting. Yeah, very interesting indeed. You don't need to bow your heads or anything. Please, let me hear the rest. That just now wasn't really... I've been listening to you for a while. Don't try to hide it now. Oh, okay. That's an interesting emote combo there. That's... very interesting. Also, maybe like there? The text won't get to there, or the game's text won't get to there unless it's a really long thing. So that should have most of it there. So, I'll ask you directly. Who is this Beatrice? She's supposed to be a witch from a kid's story, but it doesn't look that way now. So the 3 servants seem to believe in the presence of Beatrice. Kanan-kun averted his gaze. Hey. No. Not allowed. It was obvious that he didn't want to talk about this, which only made me want to ask even more. Making an effort to smile, I grabbed the collar of his shirt. So aggressive. Last night, this would have been none of my business. But after this morning, everything's changed. Dad and the rest have been killed. This is totally my business. I have the right to listen to the suspicious story, don't I? Don't I? I glared into Kanan's eyes as he continued to avert his gaze in apparent pain. Since there was a big difference in our heights, Kanan had to stand on his toes, and it looked like it hurt a bit. This is 5 seconds away from becoming a kiss scene. I'm sorry, I had to say it. The tension, man. Battle-san.
手を離してやっ
Please
てく
let
ださ
go
い
of
な。
him.
別にカノンさんは隠しているわけではないのです。
じゃあ話してくれたっていいじゃ
Then
ね
you
え
won't have
か。
any problem talking about it, right?
仲間外れたら
It's
寂しい
lonely
ぜ。
being out of the loop, you know? I tried to further twist up his collar. Genji-san cut between us and spoke. In his expression were faint traces that he'd made up his mind to do something. Apparently, he had no intention of hiding it.
お話しすることはできま
I
す。
can tell you about it.
ただ、
Ganon only hesitated
バト
because
ラ
you
様
might
が
have
お
taken
気
it
を悪く
badly,
なされるかもしれま
Battler-sama.
せんので、カノンは躊躇している。
躊躇なんて男らしくねえぜ。
Hesitating, huh? Not very manly of you. Damn, we are just making his gay panic even worse. Poor guy.
内緒にされる方が気
Whatever
持
it
ち
is you're
悪いさ。
talking about, it's even more unpleasant having it kept a secret.
聞か
Tell
せて
me
くれ
about
よ
it.。
どうせ明日までで
It's
き
not
る
like
こと
we have
ない
anything
んだ。
better to do before tomorrow comes.
多少はうさんくさい
A
話の方
slightly
が
spooky story might be the best way to avoid getting bored. Genji-san and Kanan-kun looked at each other, then nodded as though they'd decided to talk, and then killed me. No.
わかりました。
Understood.
何でもお聞きください。
Please ask us anything.
お話しします。
We will talk.
あ
Right.
あ。じゃあ聞くぜ
Then。I'll ask.
ベアトリーチェってのは一
Who in
体
the
何
world
なの？
is Beatrice?
俺が知ってる限りでは、
All
六
I
軒島
know
の
is
森
that
に
she's
住
a
まう魔
witch
女
who
ってこ
lives
と
in
に
the
なった。
forest of Rokanijima. He is. Poor little kid. He's like 16, I think. Oh, man. Poor kid. And he thinks of himself as furniture. Oh, man. And this is his sister. She's dead. He's dead. She's dead. He's dead. She's dead. And he's dead. He's 16, yes, this is true. I mean, Battler's like 18, so the age, it's not like, you know, immediate guns, but, you know. Listen, he... Rip. Oh, thank you, Buttspot. Oh, man, I missed Buttspot. Ah.
森に入ると危ないからってんで。
Heard it's a story grandmother or
ばあ
someone
様あたり
invented
が
to
作り
keep
出した
people out of
脅
the
し話だっ
dangerous
て聞い
forest.
てる。
Definitely makes sense.
違うのか？
Is that wrong?
いえ、
No,
違いません。
it isn't wrong.
その通りです。
It's as you say.
ベアトリーチェ様は
Beatrice is a witch who dwells
六
in the
軒島
forest
の
of
森に住まわれる
Rokanijima.
魔女であらせられます。
バトラ様、
Butler-sama,
にわかには
I
信
don't
じられない
expect you
で
to
しょう。
believe this all of a sudden,
ベアトリーチェ
but
様は
Beatrice-sama
存在するので
exists.
す。親方様に
She
莫
is a
大な
real
黄金
person,
を
the one who
授け、
gave the master a vast amount of
長い
gold
ことを
and
そ
who
ばに
worked
お
by
仕え
his
し
side
た
for many years.
実在する方なのです。
は
Huh? Nani?
あ？よせやいよせやい。
Ah, come on.
じい様の受け売
Is
りを言うの
grandfather
も
paying you to
給
repeat
料のうちだっ
everything
て
he
のか？
says? I laughed like it was a joke, but neither Genji-san nor Kanan-kun laughed. Where is... what is Kumasawa-san doing? Not even Kumasawa-bachan, who was avoiding my eyes, flustered as she started washing the dishes. Okay. So unfortunately, I was the only one laughing. Painfully, bitterly. Ah, parents are home. That means Milkshake is gonna start freaking out in a little bit.
なるほど。
And there he goes. I'm gonna go close my door. I see. That's why Genji-san refused to mention it.
こいつは確かに正気じゃ気を
If you
悪くす
really mean
る。
it, of course I'd take it badly.
つまり、
So you're
ベア
saying
トリーチェっていう名
that
の
a
人物
person
は
named
実在
Beatrice
する。
actually exists?
はい。
Yes.
親方様が
She has been working for the master since before the mansion was built on this island.
おそらく
She has most likely been working for him
私よ
even
りも
longer than
長
I
くお
have.
使いしているでしょ
Have you met this? This is very weird.
なんてこった。
What do you know?
キリエさ
Kirie-san's
んの仮
theory
説は
was
外
off.
れたな。じいさまに。
Grandfather really did have a confidant named
実在
Beatrice.
したってわけだ。
Confidant. That's a fun word.
そいつは今、この島にいるんだな。
Is that person on the island now?
はい、
Yes.
いらっしゃっていると
I
思いま
believe
す。
that she is here.
曖昧な言い方だな。
That's a vague way to say
っ
it.
てことは、
I guess that means you haven't seen her face today or yesterday.
はい、
That is correct.
大変申し上げがたい
It
の
is
ですが、
extremely difficult to say, but
その
Kanan-kun once again dropped his gaze, avoiding my eyes.
なんだよ、そこで切るなよ。
Come on, don't just stop there.
鮮度目みたい
It's
で
like
気持ち
freezing an
悪い
inch
ぜ。
before the blow, right? What? What? Battler, what? What is... Huh? What? I urged him on jokingly again. What did he mean by this? However, it looked like Kenan was still confused as to whether he should speak or not. Then Kumasawa Bachan whispered.
お顔を見ようにも
Ah. You cannot see her face.
ベアトリーチェ様に
Because
はお
Beatrice
姿
Sama
があ
has
りま
no
せんから
form.
お姿が
She has no...
なんだって
What did you say?
ベアトリーチェ様に
Beatrice
は
Sama has
お
no
体が
body.
ありません
Oh god, what does that mean? Oh yeah, you did say you were studying... Weren't you studying Japanese? Didn't you say, I think? Was it Japanese and French? If I remember correctly. But also my memory is terrible. But yeah, what does that even mean? What does all that mean?
ですから
Therefore,
Beatrice
unless Beatrice
sama
Sama
o
wishes
nozomi
it,
ni naranai
common people like us are not able to
私
see
ども
her
本用で
form.
はお姿を見ることすら叶いません
ベアトリーチェ様
I
が
have heard
人の
that the
姿をさ
portrait
れていた
shows
頃
what
の絵
Beatrice
が
Sama looks
あの
like
肖
back
像
when
画
she
の
had
もの
a
なの
human
だとか
form.
そのお姿を
It
懐か
seems
し
he
み
yearned for that
よ
figure
く
so
肖
much,
像画
he
の
would
前
often
に
stand in
佇ま
front
れ
of
てい
that
るそうな
portrait.
Beatrice 様は時折
Beatrice Sama sometimes shows
輝く蝶の
herself by
姿
changing
に
her form
身
into
を変えられ
glittering
て現れることがあり
butterflies.
ます万一
On the rare
お屋敷
occasion
の
that you
中でお見
spot
か
them
けした場
somewhere
合
in the
には
mansion,
決し
there's a
てそ
rule
の
that
後
you
を追ってはならない
absolutely
決ま
mustn't
りです
chase after them.
追えば不幸があると
It
囁
is
かれていま
whispered that
す
you will meet with disaster if you do. Didn't someone... Hold on. Didn't someone see a butterfly? Was it Shannon before she died? Hmm. See, it's interesting because we don't know. We still haven't, like, completely fleshed out the genre that this story is. Which I think is interesting because it could be some kind of mystical ghost or whatever. Some spirit. Or it could be all very logical. But that definitely depends on the genre that it is.
その禁を破り大怪我をして辞めた使用人も実際にいます。
In fact, there was a servant who broke that rule and quit because of a great injury.
おいおいマジかよ。
Wait a sec, are you kidding me?
あんたら
Are you
本
all
気でそんな
serious about
話をしてい
this?
るのかよ。
So it seems.
バトラー様、
Butler Sama.
すでにベアトリーチェ
Beatrice
様
Sama
が
has
お
already
越しになっておられ
arrived.
ます。そのようなお
Such
言
language
葉
may be
はよ
unwise.
ろしくないかと思われます
ベアトリーチェ様は
Beatrice
ご自
Sama
身を
does
冒
not
涜
like
され
it
る
when
方
she
を
is
好みません。
profaned.
その存在を疑
If you
えば
doubt her existence, you will
必ずや
surely
不幸
meet
が降
with
りかかるでしょ
disaster.
バトラさん、
Battler
気持
Sama
ちの悪いお
probably
話とお
find
思い
this
でし
topic
ょ。
unpleasant. So all three of the servants believe in the existence of this mysterious witch.
ですがね、
But you know what?
ベアトリーチェ
Beatrice
様は
Sama does
いるんですよ。
exist. Why was it in
います。
quotes? She exists.
それを疑われる
Beatrice Sama hates people who doubt that.
ベアトリーチェ様はことのほか
Are you all three part of a weird cult that wants to bring her back or something? Why do you keep saying exists like that? It's very weird. I don't like it.
わかりませんか、バトル
Can't
様。
you tell, Battler Sama?
ベアトリーチェ様は
Beatrice Sama has already
今
arrived
すでに
here.
ここにお越しになっており、
おいおいよせよ。
Come on, quit it.
俺そういう
I'm
の
weak
弱いん
against
だ
that
ぜ。
stuff.
脅しっこなしにしろい。
Enough with the cheap threats. However, there was no trace of a joke in the eyes of the three servants. On the surface, I laughed and tried to look unconcerned, but I was quickly starting to sober up. What could they have seen that convinced them so thoroughly? It would be good to ask that, but I doubt Battler will. Their eyes were also sobering up fast.
バトラさん、
Battler-san,
お
I
願い
beg
で
that
す
you
から
stop profaning
ベアトリーチェ
Beatrice-sama.
様を冒涜することは
I
おや
guess
め
I
くだ
guess
さ
they
い。
saw whatever happened to that other servant that got a great injury and stopped working.
悪いことは
Please
申し上げま
trust
せ
me.
ん。
Kumasawa Bachan, who was usually cheerful and would always tease people, now spoke with a totally serious face.
いや
Well,
いるって言われて
even
も
if you say she exists,
俺には何も見えないぜ。
I don't see anything.
今俺の
Trying to
隣
say
にい
she's
るとでも
standing
言
right
うの
next
か
to me
よ
or。something? Are we the player, Beatrice-sama?
冗談よせやい。
Quit joking around. Oh, hi, Maria. Oh, great. Oh, no. We're gonna get more creepy Maria faces, aren't we? Oh, great. I love those. You might have missed the creepy Maria faces, Jess, but trust me, there's something. Just then, that unnerving laugh suddenly filled the kitchen. And believe it or not, this is not it yet. When I turned around, Maria was standing there by the entrance. But her expression and the feeling about her presence, felt exactly the same as the servants.
波長の合う合わないは生まれつきだよ。
What the fuck? Whether your wavelength matches or not is determined at birth.
バトラは生まれつき
Battler,
波
you were
長が
born
合
with a
わないタイプ
mismatched
なんだよ。
wavelength. Oh, is it something like? Is it gonna be something like the fam? What is it like the Ushiromiya family is susceptible to the supernatural or something, and that's why they can see Beatrice-sama or whatever.
だから見えない、
That's why you can't see her.
会えない、
That's why you can't meet with her.
話せない。
And that's why you can't talk with her. Hmm.
ベアトリーチェの一番
You're
嫌
the
いなタイ
type
プだよ。
Beatrice hates the most. Yeah, unbelievers, whatever. Maria laughed like it was funny, but it sounded extremely eerie. It was almost like she was laughing at me because I alone didn't understand.
ベアトリーチェのことが知りたい？
Do you want to know about Beatrice? Beatrice is a
ベアトリ
1,000-year-old
ー
witch.
チェはね、千年の魔女なん
You
だ
want
よ。
to burn the child? Fair enough.
あらゆる悪魔
With
を
all
刺
of the
激し、
demons at her
錬金術
command,
を
she
極
can
め、
harness the power of
賢者の石
alchemy
を
to
生
create
み
the
出し、
philosopher's
莫大
stone
な黄金を
in
生
a
み出す
vast
ことができ
quantity
る。
of gold. Okay, sure. Why not?
おじいさまは彼女と
Grandfather
契
built
約
up
す
all
る
the
こと
vast
で、
wealth of the
後ろ宮
Ushiromiya
家に
family
莫
by
大な
making a
富を
contract
築い
with
たんだ
her.
よ。
I feel like it's gonna be like half truth. Like, yes, she is, like, she does exist, but she's not a witch, is what I'm guessing. I feel like this story wouldn't go for quite such a fantastical angle, but I don't know yet. Once again, I really don't know the genre quite yet, completely.
昨日私がベアトリーチェの手
Yesterday
紙
I
を読
read
んだでしょ。
Beatrice's letter, didn't I?
あれは本当
That
なん
was
だよ。
real.
ま、バ
Well,
トラ
I
に
guess
信
it's
じろと言っ
pointless
て
for me
も
to try and
無理な
force you to
話だろう
believe.
けど。六感が
After
生ま
all,
れつき
looks
さっ
like you
ぱ
were
りみた
born
いだか
without
ら
a
ね。
trace of the sixth sense. Haha, me too. I don't like that laugh. Not a fan of that laugh.
なんだよそれ。
What are you talking about?
魔女？
Witches?
悪魔？
Demons?
そんなの誰に聞いたん
Told
だ
you
よ。
about that.
ベアトリーチェ本人に聞いたんだ
I
よ。
heard it from Beatrice herself. Maria kept doing that unpleasant laugh. However, the servants who watched over this didn't even blink. She heard it from that witch in the portrait ordaining the entrance hall. Maria kept on laughing in a weird voice, as though this was nothing more or less than the truth.
マリア、聞くだけ野暮だろうが、もう一回聞くぜ。
Maria, it might be rude to ask, but I'll ask one more time, okay?
昨日、
Who
マリア
gave
に
you
あの
that
手紙
letter
を渡したのは
yesterday?
誰だ？
ベアトリーチェにもらったって何度言えばわかるかな。
I got it from Beatrice. How many times must I tell you before you understand?
わかんないよね。
You don't get it, do you?
見えないんだもん
You
ね。
can't see it.
信じられない
You
もん
can't
ね。
believe it, can you? Just then, Maria's laughter suddenly stopped.
バトラ、
Battler,
まだわかんな
you
い。
still don't understand.
ベアトリーチェ様が
Beatrice-sama
いるのが
exists. Is it like she exists because people believe in her or something? I don't know why they keep having the exists in quotes. That seems important.
いるって。
She exists, you say. But where?
だからベアト
Like
リ
I
ーチェ様
said,
が
Beatrice Sama
ここにいるのが。
exists here. That's right. Now that I think about it, I've been feeling for a while now. The servants' eyes have been pointed in quite the right direction. I'd figured they were just staring absent-mindedly, but that wasn't the case. The four here, Genji-san, Kanan-kun, Kumasawa-san, and Maria, everyone except me, was looking at a spot right behind me. Holding my breath tightly, I slowly looked over my shoulder. Of course, there wasn't anyone there. I've known that the whole time. However, everyone in the room except me was focusing on that spot, as if someone was there.
ベアトリーチェは1000年を生きた偉大な黄金の
Beatrice
魔
is
女。
the mighty golden witch who has lived for 1,000 years.
でも波長
But
の
since
合
she
う
can't
人
show
間
her
にし
form
か
to humans
自
of the
分の
wrong
姿を見せられ
wavelength,
ない
she
し
can't talk to them.
話しかけられない。だからね、
And you know what?
それがとても
That's
悲
really
しいんだよ。
sad.
だからバトラみ
It
たい
means
な
she truly
生まれつき魔
despises
法
it
の
when
センス
people
もかけ
like
らもない
you,
人
who
に
are born without a
存在を否
fragment
定
of
さ
the
れるの
ability
が
needed to
も
sense
のすごく
magic,
嫌いなんだよ。
deny that she exists.
バトラは幸運
You're
だよ。
lucky, battler.
昨日私に
Good
お
thing I
守り
gave
を
you
もらっ
that
ていてよ
charm
かったね。
yesterday, right? Well, welcome back. We are still talking to Creepy Child. What food you get, if you don't mind me asking?
それを身につけて
Don't
い
you
なかった
realize what kind of
今
curse
頃ベアトリ
Beatrice
ー
would
チェ
have
の
put
ど
on
ん
you
な
by
呪い
now
が
if you
身
hadn't
に
been
及んで
carrying
い
it
たか
around?
分かったものじゃない。本当に幸運なんだよ、バトラは。
You really are lucky, battler.
ああ、あのサソリのキーホルダーかよ。
Oh, that scorpion keychain.
あれって安っぽい景品か何かだと思
I
っ
thought
て
it
た
was
ん
some
だ
cheap
が。
gift or something. But are you saying it had really had some
ってこと
power?
なのか？
それがなかったら今
If it
頃
weren't for
バトラ
that,
が
you'd
あ
be
の倉
lying
庫
in
の
that
中で
storehouse
顔
as a
面を
sacrifice
砕かれ
with
て
your
生
face
贄に
crushed
され
by
ていたん
now.
だよ。幸運だったよ、
You're
バトラ
so
は。
lucky, battler. I don't. The joke's not very funny.
そうか。
I see. Carbonara. What is that? I'm very uncultured. I apologize.
あれがなかったら。
Wait, let me look it up actually. If it
俺は
weren't for
今
that,
頃
I'd
殺
have
さ
been
れてた
killed by now.
ってのか。
Ah. Carbonara. Carbonara? Ooh, that looks tasty. Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Yep, I did. Thank you.
なんでバトラはベア
Battler,
トリー
why
チェ
don't
を
you
信じ
believe
ない
in
の？
Beatrice?
いるのに
Even though she exists.
今そこに
Right now, over there, look.
信じる気
Hey,
にな
I'll
った
bet
で
you
し
want to
ょ？
believe it now.
信じなよ、
Believe
マリアに
it.
お守りを
And
もら
thank
った
me
こ
for
とを
giving you
感
that
謝しなが
charm.
ら。あれがなければ
If it weren't
バ
for
トラは
that,
今
you'd
頃
be in the
倉庫の
storehouse
中。
right now.
代わりに誰か
But
一人
then,
が助かっ
maybe
て
you
い
would
た
have
かも
saved
しれない
someone
ね。
else in exchange, right? Right then, I burst into laughter. Playing witches had been pretty fun up until a second ago, but unfortunately, that last one seemed to be too much for me to gloss over.
じ ゃ全然ダメだぜマリア。
Then it's all useless, isn't it, Maria?
ってことなら
If
悪
that's
い
true,
が
then I'm sorry, but it's
全然
all
ダメだ。
useless. He put it in his like bag and he doesn't have it with him. Maria saw me suddenly start laughing. She stopped. Even though she didn't understand what I was laughing at, she realized it wouldn't be pleasant for her. Aww.
お前が傷つくだろうと思ったから。
I thought that it might hurt you, so I didn't say it earlier, but did he lose it or something?
お前にもらったお守りよ。
Well, I thought I'd put that charm you gave
ポ
me
ケ
in my
ットに入れた
pocket,
つもりだったんだけどよ。どっかに落っことし
but
ち
I
まったん
must
だ
have
ぜ。
dropped it somewhere. Oh, that sounds like Battler. That sounds like him so much. Ay, ay, ay.
だから
So
俺
the
が
charm can't
今
be
こ
the
の
only
瞬間に
reason
無
I'm
事なの。
alive now. And even though I should have been cursed by the witch, I'm perfectly
なら魔女
fine.
様の呪いがあって当然なのに、今悪いが。
Sorry, but I don't believe
俺
in
は自
things I
分
don't
の目
see
で見
with
たも
my
のし
own
か信
eyes.
じねえ。第6巻
Six senses.
課長
Wavelengths?
魔法のセンス
Magic sensitivity.
悪いが俺はそういう
Sorry, but I
前
don't
つばのは
believe in
一切
fake
信
stuff
じねえ
like
ぜ。
that.
クラスの女が霊感がいいの悪いのって言い出すのを聞いてると虫唾が走るのさ。
I hear the girls in class start talking about how good or bad their ability to sense the supernatural is. It pisses me off. I don't know how much grandfather is paying you, but if you're trying to talk me into joining some cult,
そう簡単にはいかねえ
Believe me, you won't
っ
be
て
able
こ
to
と
do
は
it that
よく
easily.
肝に銘じておきやがるってんだ。
バトラ様。
Batula-sama. Uh-oh. You guys are free to
カノン
believe
君
whatever
たち
you
が信
want.
じるのは自由だぜ。だが
But
俺
when
が
it
信
comes
じ
to
る
the
かどう
things
か
I believe,
常に
the one who
自
decides
分で決める。
is always me.
悪いがこの目で見るまでベアトリーチェなんてうさんくさいものの存在を
Hold
信
on.
じるわけにはいかな
Sorry,
い
but I
ぜ。
can't believe in something as shady as Beatrice until I've seen her with my own eyes. She spoke forcefully and sharply. Then Maria started cackling again. Well, that's just fine, isn't it?
いずれお前のような
Eventually,
波
even
長が
people
全
like
然
you
合
with
わない
totally
人の目に
mismatched
も
wavelengths
ベ
will
ア
be
ト
able
リ
to
ーチェは
see
見えるように
Beatrice.
なる。もうじきよみがえ
Very
るんだよ。
soon, she will revive.
ベアトリーチェはね。
Beatrice will revive.
そうしたら
Once that
一緒にいっ
happens,
ぱいお
she's
話を
promised to
したり
talk with me
遊ん
and
だ
play
り
with
し
me
よ
a
うっ
lot.
て約束してるんだよ。疑う必要
There will
も
be absolutely no need for you to doubt or for us to force you to believe. Huh. Interesting. She will
もう
appear
じきね。
very soon. I don't like that laugh. Yeah, she's not great. She's it's very she had some really bad portraits earlier that were really rough. But thankfully they haven't used them again. After a meal, some people tend to head to the bathroom, while others prefer to relax a bit. It seemed that several people had left the parlor, just like I did when I went to the kitchen to drink some water. Oh, that's right. Also, Aunt Nasui has a gun. Silence, transphobes. In the end, Aunt Natsuyu reluctantly retracted her order that everyone remained packed into the parlor, on the condition that no one headed out on their own or strayed too far. In any case, if 11 people are stuck in the same room starting early in the morning, the air will start to stagnate. Also, quite some time had passed, so everyone was starting to recover from the shock of that morning, and their sense of danger might have been weakening too. However, it was a certain fact that 6 people had been killed inside the mansion, so no one was completely negligent. So whenever they went out into the hallway for a breath of fresh air, trying to act tough, they would quickly get scared of standing there, isolated, and would eventually return to the parlor. I guess it's like the north wind and the sun. What? If you force someone to stay shut in, they'll resist, but if you tell them to do whatever they want, they'll come back obediently. People really do not like doing what they're told. This is true. When the servants finished cleaning up from the meal, they returned obediently to the parlor, just as Aunt Natsu had told them to, and sat on a sofa near the entrance, patiently awaiting orders. Maria, almost as though she had suddenly finished playing witches, had returned to the pure Maria I knew well, saying ooh ooh. Oh yeah, she doesn't even say ooh at all when she's talking about Maria, or talking about Beatrice. Interesting. What in the world happened back there? I hadn't even felt an atom of the presence of this person called Beatrice, who was supposedly standing behind me, invisible. However, it felt like I glimpsed a little of that presence inside Maria.
確かに
You're right.
マリアちゃんは魔女とかの話になると
starts
人が
talking
変わる
about
ね。
witches. Her personality changes.
昨日海岸でバトラ君も見たでしょ。
Well, good. Here's some good info for you. Here's some good luck. This man is single. Now that, this happened. So he's single at least. Battler-kun, you also saw it down by the beach yesterday, right?
サ
You
ソリの
mean
キ
that
ーホルダーの
scorpion
時か。
keychain?
あ、いや、
No, I don't mean
あ
like
んな
when
機
her
嫌を
feelings
損ね
were
るみたい
hurt.
なか。まるでその
Talking about her having a
二
dual
重人格
personality
み
or
たいな
something.
感じで。
ああ、たま
Yeah,
に
that
そういうこ
happens
ともある
sometimes
な。
too.
さっきマリアが魔法
That
陣
thing
の
Maria
話を
did when
始
she
め
was
た時
talking
み
about
た
the
いなや
magic
つ。
circle does
た
happen every
ま
now
にあ
and
るぜ
then.。
気持ち悪いけどな。
It's freaky though. Apparently Jessica had spotted that kee Maria a few times. I just happened to catch it at a bad moment and was pretty freaked out seeing it for the first time.
あれってのは何なんだ？
So what is that?
マリアは二重
Does
人
Maria
格
have
か
a
何
dual
かなのか？
personality or something?
それとも
Are you
本
saying
当
her
に霊感が
spiritual
強かっ
sense
たりと
really
か
is
して
that strong and she's
そ
being
ういうのに
possessed by a
憑依された
spirit
り
or
とかしちまう
whatever?
のかよ。
そういうのじゃないと
I don't
思
think
う
it's
よ。
that.
バトラ君にも経
Haven't
験
you
ない？
ever experienced it?
小さい頃、
When
自
you were
分以外
small,
の誰
didn't
か
you
にな
ever
りたか
want
った
to
な
be
んてこ
someone
と。
other than yourself? Hmm. When humans are born, no one has any individuality. I need to pee, I'll be right back. Ah, okay, thank you. I appreciate it, Jess. I was thinking, it is interesting that she doesn't, because that ooh thing is something that her mother really, really wants to get rid of, and it disappears completely when she goes into that other mode, I guess, or whatever. So could it be some kind of trauma related to that? I don't know. Yeah, let me check. I'll check Discord. Let me do that. Yeah, It's very interesting. Oh, auto scooter is like, it's like bumper cars. That's what I know it more as, I think. I guess it's something similar to that. It looks like bumper cars. Yeah. Okay, cool. Sorry, yeah, that's just the name I've heard more of it. I'll look at the videos later, but right now this is I want to keep going in this because this is interesting. However, when they reach their growth period, their sense of self starts to be born. They want to be different than other people. Since everyone else in their class is learning the same things at the same rate and being forced into the same lifestyle, of course they aren't going to find anything that makes them different from everyone else around them. Yeah, that is an interesting point. Once they realize that, the first thing they do is start breaking the rules in what's called their rebellious stage. I don't know if I really had a rebellious stage. I was just, I was just really quiet throughout, like, all of my school years, basically. I was just like, I just don't want to be noticed. I don't want to speak up. I don't want to be noticed. I'm just going to be really, really quiet. And, hide as much as I can. That was my school days. Which is, perhaps not the best way to spend your school years. Yep. I just was so off in my own little thing. I just... Too relatable, huh? Since everyone else follows the rules, they want to show off their individuality by breaking them. Yeah. Not relatable to me, sorry, but I guess I kinda get it. So even those who try to act tough, mocking everyone around them and calling them childish, can actually be viewed as cute kids searching for themselves, if you look at it this way. Well, I'm lecturing about all this like I'm so smart, but I actually got the second hand from George Aniki. Myself was one of those embarrassing guys who thought it was cool to act like a little bastard. Well, that was when I was at the age where you try to show off for the opposite sex. Can't relate. Main feature of the growing period lies in an impulse to break away from your life as a kid, like a chick trying to crack open the shell of their egg. Do you know what makes children and adults different? Age? Or do you mean size? Life experience? Well, also, developed brains. It's difficult.
違うよ。経験だよ。
I was thinking that too. No, it's experience.
大人が子供を見
Adults
下す
can
の
look
は
down on children because children have very little life experience.
子供が何を言って
The
も
reason they
鼻で
snort
笑
at
ってし
everything
まうのは
children say is
世
because they
間知
think
らずの
kids
く
know
せにと
nothing about
見
the
下して
real
いるから
world.
だよ。
ああ、そういうの
Yeah,
わ
I
かるぜ。
understand that.
子供の頃って
When you're a kid, you
妙
talk
に
like
人
you've
生
got
って
life
も
all
う悟り
figured
切っ
out
たような
somehow,
ことを
trying
口
to
にし
act
て
like an adult.
年長し大人は子供が何を
No
言って
matter
も
what kids say,
世の
adults
中
just
甘く
snort
な
at
いと
them and
か
say they're too
社
naive
会
or
に出れ
that
ばわ
they'll
かるとか
understand when
鼻
they
で
get
笑って
older
る
or something.
まあ実際そうな
Well,
んだけ
that's
ど
probably true, but to a
子
kid,
供
it's
的に
just
はそういう
annoying
のっ
like
て
they're being looked down
見
upon.
下されてるみたいでムカつくんだよな。
なるほどな。
I get it.
知識や経
It's a
験の
question
有
of
無か。
knowledge and experience.
確かに年齢
Well,
だ
I
け無
guess
駄に
you're
食
right
って
that
て
there's
も
no reason to
尊敬は
respect
さ
a
れねえよ
person
な。
for their age if they've just wasted their lives. Holy shit.
となるとつまり子供から脱却したいという衝動を持つ時期にかつ他者とは違うという個性を持ちたくなる。
Therefore, during the period where they try to separate themselves from other children, they also try to take on personality traits different from those around them.
子供からの脱却
And
が
if
つまり
knowledge and experience is what
知識や
separates
経
kids
験
and
なのだとした
adults,
ら
なるほど。
I
他人
get
の持
it.
ち得な
They
い
know
知識を
something
持
no
つ
one
こと
else
が
knows. It becomes part
一
of
つ
their
のアイデン
identity.
ティティになるわけか。
小学校の頃なんか
You
さ
know, when I was in
クラ
elementary
スの
school,
誰も
I'd
知ら
learn
ないこ
things
とを
no
知
one
ってい
else
たり
knew. Get things no one else had, wear things no one else wore, and became a bit of a hero for it.
バトラもそういう
I
経
thought
験
you've
ある
done
だろ
the same thing, Battler. Cannot relate. Too quiet. Too shy, too fearful. Did not want to stand out at all. I don't know why. Maybe it was like I don't know. Can't remember if there was an exact reason for it. Just kinda how I turned out, I guess. Yeah, yeah.
何か一芸に
There was
秀でた
definitely
い
an age
と
I
思う
wanted
年
to
頃って
excel in some
確か
skill
に
or
ある
other.
な。なるほど。
I see. So that's because I was trying to separate myself from being a
つ
child.
まり
Or
成長
going
期っ
through,
てわ
going
け
through my
か。
growing period, in other words.
健全な意味での成長期
Keep
は
it a positive spin.
そうして
The
没
growing
個性を
period
脱却
forces
す
you
る
to
ために
separate yourself from others,
人が持たない知
thereby
識や
pushing
ス
you
キ
to
ルを
gain
身につけ
skills
る
and
ことを
knowledge
促
no one
す
else has. Yeah, exactly. It's like, you don't do anything. Yeah. Just teacher's favorite by default. Because we didn't do anything. We didn't do anything to make their lives difficult.
This これは社会学的にも
This
面
is
白い
also
ことだよ。
interesting from a sociological standpoint.
人が没個性
Because
を
people
嫌う
hate
ため
being
に
like everyone else. They
人
try
と
to
違
learn
う技
skills
術を
other
身に
people
つけ
don't
ようと
know.
する。
But eventually, I think it might be. The thing was, being a kid growing up with autism, or specifically when it was categorized as Asperger's, high functioning autism, you want to be like all the other kids. You want to fit in. You don't want to. The fuck? How is this the what? Oh. I have a different lid for a different Gatorade in the room. And I was like, I just like gaslit myself. It's like, you don't want to stand out. You want to fit in. You just want to go along with the flow. You don't want to... You just want to know how to fit in with everyone else. And I know it's not necessarily just... It's more of a neurodivergent thing. Like, if you have ADHD or if you have just any anything that kind of differentiates you, you want to... You're the opposite of that. You don't want to stand out. Because you see standing out as bad. Every time, you know, you get some kind of social cue wrong or something, it feels awful. So you want to learn how best to not stand out. Which is very interesting. So there's an interesting counterpoint to this, in that if you are, you know, if you already stand out, you do the opposite. You want to fit back in. You want to, and I think there's also like, people do want to fit in with like their like cliques and stuff, you know, with their friends and whatnot. So there's interesting contrasts, I think.
これにより社会は幅広い技術を獲得して立脚する。
That's an interesting. In this way, society can acquire the broad range of skills it needs to survive.
神々の高度なプログ
Quality
ラミ
of
ング
God,
に
the gods'
驚かせる。
programming is truly surprising. Ushiromiya George has become Catholic.
まあ個性がネガティブに働くこともあるぜ。
Well, unique personality traits can also be negative, right? See, here we go.
クラスみんなが真剣に勉強してるから俺だけはサボって目立とうとかよ。
Like if, say, everyone in the class was studying hard, but I was the only one slacking off, trying to stand out. Okay, that last bit really was true about me. It's only recently that I've been able to thank the middle school teacher who slapped me after school. Whoa! More child abuse, yay!
でもまあ誰も飛べない飛び
But,
箱を
well,
飛ん
I'd
で
try
や
to
りたい
jump
と
over
か
things no one else could.
成績のいい連中
Sprint
を
as
周
fast
回
as I
遅れに
could,
させて
trying
や
to
るぜ
lap
って
those guys with good
マラソン
grades
で
when we
全
did
力
a
疾走と
marathon.
か
I just
そう
felt
いう気
like
持ちはあっ
doing
た
it.
な。勉強はダメだっ
It
た
was
か
in my
ら
nature that if I couldn't
少なく
study
とも
well,
運動では見
then at
返し
least
て
I
やる
could
ぜ
get back at
って
them by
根性はあっ
exercising.
た。
Interesting. I see, so I really did go through a proper growing period. Guess it looks different for everyone.
男子ってやっぱり肉体的な
I
方
guess
面に
boys
関
really
心が
do
向く
tend
よ
to
な。
focus more on physical stuff.
でもよ、同じ
But
時
you
期
know,
に女子は
girls of the
精
same
神
age
的な
tend to
面に向
focus
きや
on
すいん
more
だよ。
on mental, spiritual things. Such as the occult. I'll bet there were groups of girls in your class that got really interested in fortune telling and in their spiritual senses. Yeah, I can't remember anything like that, but also, again, I was a very quiet kid, so I wasn't really in tune with what everyone else was doing most of the time.
あったあった。
Yeah, there were.
人の星座とか血
They'd
液
come
型とか
over
聞いてきて。
asking me for my sign and my blood
やっ
type,
ぱり
and they'd laugh. I thought so. That's more of a Japanese thing, isn't it? Also, let me know if I'm talking too loudly. But yeah, that's more of a Japanese thing, I believe. That people tend to correlate blood type with like personality types over there. I guess it's something similar to like, yeah, like signs, like astrological signs, which also they do, but that's more of a global thing, I guess? I don't know. I don't know exactly where that... Well, I know it originated over... But I feel like that's more of a thing that's accepted here than the blood type. I think blood type is just... I've only really heard of it for Japanese stuff. But I don't know. Maybe it occurs other places? I'm not sure.
とか笑われると
It really got on
大い
my
にムカついたもんだぜ
Good.
どこのクラスに行っても女子は占いが好きだし
Oh dear. Father issues. Yep. That's fun. Okie dokes. Hope taking care of the cat goes well. No matter which class you go to, girls like fortune telling.
決まって霊感に強いだの
It's
弱
not
いだの
whether your spirit
感受
sense
性が
is
どう
strong or
こう
weak,
見え
what
ない
your
ものが見えちまう
sensitivity
だの
is, whether you can see the
そういう出会い
unseeable.
が必ずい
That
た
kind
もん
of
だ
thing
ぜ
definitely happened to me. So that's what we're saying, that's what Maria's going through, but then that doesn't explain why the servants seem so convinced.
占いも霊感も学校では教えないものだからね。
That's because fortune telling and spiritual senses are things that aren't taught in school.
男の子と違い、
To girls who tend
内
to be
向
more
的な世界に
introverted,
関し、それはアイデンティ
it's
テ
a
ィを確
genre
立
that's
しや
easy
す
to
くて、
build an
か
identity
つ興味
upon,
深いジャンルな
one
んだ
that
よ。
holds a lot of interest for them. Well, I was definitely introverted. Just like how when boys enter their growing period, they start acting tough and rebel against adults. Girls enter their growing period, they start getting interested in that kind of thing. I guess it's their own kind of rebellion. Well, I didn't though. So Maria having so much interest in the
マリアが
occult
オ
isn't
カル
that
トに
rare
関
among
心を持
girls
つの
her
は
age?
年頃の女の子としてはそう珍しくもないってことか
Even if we accept that, I wonder if it explains that creepy dual personality thing. Actually, I think I could probably accept that explanation, more or less.
さっきも言った通り、
As you
大
just
人に
said,
なるとい
becoming
う
an
のは
adult means
知識
gaining
や経
knowledge
験を
and
持つことを言う。
experience.
だから、
So
そ
to
れを得
gain
るため
that,
に
it's
子
necessary
供
for
たちは
children
い
to
ろい
learn
ろ
all
なことを
sorts of
学んで、
things
子
and
供を
break
脱
from
却しなけれ
childhood.
ばならないんだけど。子供の世界に今も昔もはびこっているある便利な妄想があるんだよ。
However, there are certain convenient delusions that you see often in the world of children, both now and in the past.
わかるかい？
Do you know what I mean?
漫画やアニメ
You
に
see
多
it
いだ
all the
ろ
time in manga and anime, right?
ほらあれだよ
It's kinda like that.
前世の記憶
Like
が
you've got
蘇
memories
っ
from a
て
previous
とか
life that start to resurface. Ah, are we talking about Chunibyo? Talking about the Chunibyo phase? That, what is it, the 6th grader phase? Ay, ay, ay.
偉大なるなんとかの魂が
Like
乗
you're
り移
being
って
possessed by the
とか
soul of a great something or whatever.
ああ、他にも遺伝子が覚醒したりとか、
It could be that a sleeping gene gets awakened.
封印されていた能
Maybe a
力
sealed
やら記
power
憶や
or
らが
memory
戻ったり
returns. There's
と
all
か、
kinds.
いろいろどういうわけか。
For some
あ
reason,
の時期
stuff
は
like
そういう
that's
のが
really
やたらと流
popular
行
at
る
that
もんさ。
age.
どうしてだ？
Why is that?
今挙げたキーワードは
All
全
those
て
examples you've
子
just
供の自
mentioned are
分に
illusions that
知
let
識や
children
経験を
immediately
直
add
ち
to
に
their
付加でき
sum
る
of
幻
knowledge
想
and
だからだよ。
experience. Oh.
9歳の女の子も
The
1000
9-year-old
年を
girl
生きた
says she
魔
has
女
a
が
thousand-year wish
私に
which
憑依して
possess
ると
it.
言い出せば1009歳の
Then
ア
she
イデンテ
gains
ィ
in
テ
a
ィが得られるわけだからね。
1,009-year-old identity.
まあつまり勉
So
強するのは
basically,
面倒
studying
く
is
さい
annoying. Too true. Too true. Too real.
But でも人とは違うスキルを持って
These
周りに
delusions are
威張りたい
convenient for
ちや
people
ほ
who
やされたい
brag
って
about
いう
having a
連中
skill
にとっ
no
て
one
は
else has,
便利な妄
amazing
想
the
なんだ
people
よ
around
な
them. So you could brag about something without having to work hard or study. Sounds like a plan. I see. Isn't that a kid's greatest dream?
あとは子供からの脱
In their
却願
desire
望
to
には
separate themselves
必
from being
ず
kids,
自分
they
の理
always
想像
project
の
an
自己
image
投
of
影
their
が行
ideal
わ
self.
れ、
Welcome back. How'd the cat? How cat do? How cat do? Kitty be good?
その願望の
It's
姿
not
が
rare for that
別
desired
人格
self
として
to
形
become an
成される
alternate
ことが少なく
personality.
ない。
Normal? That's good for kitties. Normal means nothing too crazy is going on, I suppose.
バトラ君だって家と学校では
Even
多
you,
少キャラクターが違う
probably
と
had
い
a
うこと
slightly
がある
different
んじゃないかな。
personality at home and at school, right? Thank you, Buttspot. Oh, you've got a talkative cat? There was a talkative cat at the cat cafe we went to because he got locked in his. He was stuck in a. Not a kennel necessarily. Well, I guess it was a kennel, but it was like that. It was like one of those like big ones the cat can like climb up on stuff on and like has like shelves or whatever to climb on. Anyways, apparently it was because the cat cafe we went to has like a a bunch of like cubby holes for the cats to like go into and just like hide from people if they wanna, and it also has like a like really high up part that they can climb up to. Apparently this cat was just pooping up there. So they had to keep him in the kennel because he kept doing that, and it's a bit difficult to clean up. So he was being really loud. Oh, okay, that's cute. I don't think I've ever had too talkative a cat. I don't think either of our cats were very well. I think Joey meowed. I don't remember exactly. I don't think King meowed too often. Except when he, like, near the end. But I don't think Joey... I don't remember. But yeah. Talkative cats are cute. Yeah, yeah. I'd love to. I always love meeting cats. It's been too long since I've had a cat myself. It sucks because I had a cat most of my life, and then I didn't, and then I haven't for a couple of years now. So going to the cat cafe was nice.
多分家での自分の姿をク
It'd
ラスの
probably be
友人たちに
embarrassing
見
if
せ
your
るのは
friends at
恥ずかしい
school
は
saw
ずだ
how you were at home.
学校の自分は自分のなりたい
When
姿
am
の
I
投
coming
影
to
で
Germany?
家
Yeah,
の自分は
yeah,
本来の
definitely.
姿だから
It's cool you try to project yourself as you want to be, but home is where you're your true self. I think it's interesting, you know, thinking about it that way. Like, what self is your true self? And I think it's all, you know, it's all different. Like, no one... I'm trying to think how to phrase this exactly. No one can quite wear the mask that you do. So even if you know, act different at school, you act differently than other people at school. And yeah, I don't think you're your true self at home. I think you're your true self when you're by yourself. But I mean, you know, there's glimpses of the true self even through whatever mask you wear. You know? But I think it's like when you're by yourself, that's the most authentic version of yourself. I don't know. I don't think home is where... I think George looks up to his parents too much. He thinks that home life is where you can act your truest. And oh god, me too. I talk to myself too much. I mean, you've probably heard it by now. I probably do it on stream. I definitely do it when I'm playing other games sometimes. It's... Now, see, what you do is you stream, and then it just becomes talking to chat. So it's a good habit, rather than everyone thinking you're crazy. See, you gotta be big brain. I do? It's true. See, I do. I do it quite often, I think.
キャラクターの使い分けというか
So in other words, I'm changing my personality depending on the situation, yeah. Smarty, yeah.
人格の多重化は
You trying to say having multiple personalities is actually really common? You think multiple masks or whatever you want to call it?
A
girl who's a fan of the occult might say she's being possessed or awakened. Ah, okay. Ah, okay. Yep. That makes sense. Yeah. Cats be that. I know I have to stop and go get Milkshake to stop barking at the door whenever he does. Because sometimes he'll just do that for no reason. It's great. Oh, my hair's coming undone again. Too often. Did you ever go through an occult phase, Jess? Yeah, Milkshake. Yeah, he's in with the parents right now. They came home from their church. I think my occult phase was when I was still like going to church and whatnot. I remember I used to like. Anybody else like used to like do? You're in a cult? Yep. Oh. Yep. It's my cult. I'm a cult. You're learning this now. This is all a cult. Welcome. been a cult the entire time. The cult of milkshake. Possessed or awakened.
ドン引きするくら
Honestly,
いに
there's
キャラ
some
を変え
kids who
る子
change
もい
their
るよ。
personalities so much it's creepy. Edward Munson? Who? What? Well, I'm gonna look that up. Wait, what? Don't worry about it. You didn't hear anything. Oh, Stranger Things? It's a Stranger Things thing? Yeah, it's a Stranger Things thing. Okay. That's what it was. Okay. Never mind. Too late. Still need to watch that sometime.
男子にもいるだろ
And some boys do it too, right? Yep. Your actions have consequences, Jess. You've been exposed.
切れたとか言って
Guys who
やた
say
らだっ
they've
たら
blown
そ
their
のキャ
top
ラに
and
変身す
suddenly
る
turned
や
into
つが
some overplayed violent character.
あれ本人
I'll
はかっ
bet they
こい
think
い
it's
と
pretty
思ってる
cool,
んだ
but
ろう
it's
けど
painful to
見てて
watch.
痛いよな。
つまりおさらいするとだ。
Let's sum all this up.
マリアくらいの
So
年
you're
頃の
saying,
女の子が
even if a girl about Maria's age shows a creepy second personality like she did a minute ago,
それほど珍
it
し
isn't
いも
such
の
a
じゃ
rare
ない
or unusual thing.
と言いたいのか？
簡単にまとめるとそういうことだね。
That doesn't explain the servants. Well, I guess Kenan is still a kid, but that definitely doesn't explain Genji-san or Kumasawa Bachan. Does not explain them. Simply put, that's right.
アイデンティティは自己を形成するための大切なもの。
Alright. Identity is an important factor when building up one's sense of self.
それをバカにした
If you
りす
make
ると
fun of it, it could
か
actually
えって
cause
その
children to
殻
go
に
back
閉じこ
into
もっ
their
てしまうこと
shells.
もある。だからほど
So
ほど
it's
に付き合っ
important
て
to
あ
go
げるの
along
が
with
大
them to
切なん
some
だよ。
degree. Aren't most of the people in that show kids? Or most of the main characters?
それを丸ごと受け入れてあげるのが
Although the broad-mindedness of the parent determines whether they play along in full or not. And I guess Natsuhi is definitely not playing along.
兄貴、それで独身って信じられねえぜ。
Aniki, I can't believe you're single. Well, maybe not the best time to make that joke, Battler.
もう子供が中学くらいに上がってそうな貫禄さ。
You sound like you've already raised kids through middle school. Yeah, he wouldn't be single if an unfortunate event did not happen already.
じゃあ、ローザおばさんも
So
あ
I
の
wonder
マ
if
リアの
Aunt
二重人
Rosa
格につい
also
て
knew
は
much
よ
about
く
his
知っていたの
Maria's
か？
dual personality.
知ってたぜ。
She knew about it.
ここだけの話。
Just between us.
ローザおばさん
Aunt
は
Rosa
すっ
really
ごく
hated
嫌
it.
がってた。
Yeah, which one was Aunt Rosa? Oh, that was her mom. That's right. I forgot Aunt Rosa. Natsuhi is Jessica's mom. I keep getting them confused. Yeah, Aunt Rosa hated it. I figured as much. This here makes me think that Maria is somehow the one. Okay. Have fun with the TikToks.
気持ち悪いし、
She said it was unpleasant and that Maria was becoming increasingly isolated from the rest of the class. No, I get it.
だからマリアがオカルトの話を始
So
めたり、
anytime Maria
魔女みたい
started
な
talking
声
about
で
the
笑い出
occult
し
or
たりする
laughing
と
like a witch,
必
she'd
ずビン
slap
タしてた
her.
ぜ。
Yikes. Wonderful, more child abuse. There's so much child abuse. This is just child abuse, the game, with like a side of murder.
だからマリアもローザおばさんがいるとき
And
に
it
は
looks like
そうい
Maria
う
stopped
話を
talking
し
that
ない
way
よう
in
にな
front
った
of
み
her.
たいだけど。
Maybe that thing back there. It's just a little game from a girl facing her growing period. Just a girl trying to show she was different and independent by holding interest in witches in the occult. Since she wanted to be different from herself, young as she was switching between her normal personality and the personality of her ideal, a witch. First, I'd found that very disturbing. After being lectured by George Anarchy, felt like it was a path everyone walked down at one time or another. Oh boy, I haven't told anyone, but when I was in kindergarten, I joined up with a little gang of kids trying to form an Earth Defense Force, saying we'd help protect peace on Earth. Oh, that's cute. My face turns red when I remembered how, during what we called battled practice, we would chant EDF, EDF. Oh, that's cute. Just like usual, Maria was relaxing, immersed in the TV, ooh-oohing and laughing just like any girl her age. But on the inside, another personality, that of the ideal witch she respected and blindly accepted, was sleeping. But that wasn't anything extraordinary. It was perfectly natural for a girl of her age. Are we gonna get to, but then why were the servants acting that way? I've calmed down a little. The shock from my bizarre experience in the kitchen just now is fading away. If I hadn't talked to Anarchy and Jessica, I might still be frightened by the idea that an invisible witch was standing right behind me. However, can I really accept that as an explanation for what happened back there? If it had just been Maria, I could have explained it as the fickle delusions of a growing girl. But Genji-san, Kanan-kun, and Kumasawa-ba-chan had also been there. Yep. None of them had denied what Maria said. They silently accepted that Beatrice exists. Starting to feel a little uneasy. Aunt Ava's position was that no 19th person existed. The crime was an inside job tied to the family quarrels. On the other hand, Aunt Natsu's position was that the culprit was hiding somewhere outside the mansion. So she rejected the possibility of an inside job and supported the idea that a 19th person existed. And in the kitchen, Maria and the servants had also supported the idea of a 19th person. According to them, this 19th person isn't human. Said it was an invisible witch carrying out some mysterious plan. Is there a 19th person or not? And is the culprit human or a witch? For some reason I couldn't just laugh off any of those possibilities. Not even the most ridiculous story about the witch. Glass shatter? Oh no, just fade and then glass shatter? Oh no, just a fade.
Jessica.
All I know about the story of the witch is that the adults made it up to keep the kids too scared to enter the forest. But is the story different here in the mansion? I feel the same way you do, okay? I think it was just a stupid ghost story that parents made up so their kids would listen to them. But I can't deny that the atmosphere inside the mansion makes it a little hard to say it out loud. After all, grandfather has proclaimed that Beatrice exists. Because of their position, the servants can't doubt that. Even Uncle Kraus and Aunt Natsu don't want to get in a fight with him, so on the surface they go along with it. So it's probably fair to say that doubting the existence of Beatrice is taboo to those who live and work in this mansion. That is true. He doesn't seem like he's not the nicest person, so... You know. Disbelieving it would probably not end well.
年に一度しか来ない
Like the rest of
僕
us
たち
who
と
only
違
come
って
here
ね
once a year. That is true.
そうでしょ
Is that right? Jessica took a deep breath in admiration. Looked like Aniki had guessed right.
ジョージ兄さんの言う通りだ
It's
ぜ。
just like you say.
みんな腹の
No one
中
really
じゃ信じ
believes
て
it
るわ
on
け
the
じゃない
inside. But on the outside, they accept that she exists. But then why would they say that when the master isn't here? They don't have to keep up the facade. They seemed genuinely convinced that she exists.
ほら、神
See,
様
it's
の
just
存
like
在
the
を
way
認
some
めるよ
people
う
are
な
about
そんな
God.
雰囲気だよ。実際にはい
Even
な
they
いこ
know
とを
God
知って
doesn't
ても、
exist. They feel
そ
it to
れ
be
を口に
uncouth
出
if
して
they
否
actually
定
said
し
it
た
out
ら
loud.
野暮みたいな空気だな。
使用人たちの間では
How do you
どう
think
いう
the
ことになっ
servants
てんだ
feel about it?
やっぱり
Are they just
雇い
going
主の
along
じい
with it
様
because
がいるって
grandfather,
言っ
their
てんだから
employer, says that
そ
she
れに口
exists?
調を合わせてるわけか
さあ、
Well,
詳しくはわからないけど、
I don't really know the details.
使用人たちの
Between
間
the
では、
servants, the story
ベア
about
トリーチェの
Beatrice seems to
話
have been treated
はある
like a
種
ghost
怪
story.
談扱いになってるよ。ほら、
Remember
昨日
yesterday
海岸でシャノ
when
ンが
Shannon
話
was
してくれ
talking
た
to
ろ。
us down by the beach?
夜見回りを
That
してい
story
る
about
時、
how one night
不気味
she
な
was
何
doing
か
the
を見
rounds
かけ
in
た
the
と
mansion.
か、
She saw
そう
something
いう話。
unsettling. She did say something like that, didn't she? So I still feel like there's like hidden entrances within the mansion, and maybe the reason that the father doesn't know about the the grandfather doesn't know about the hidden mansion, the entrances, is that like a condition of Beatrice lending him the money was that she would get to build the mansion or something like that. I don't know. Still thinking. Back then I thought she was just being really nice to help improve Maria's mood. But it felt like she was serious when she said it. That's right, she definitely said it. She definitely said the same kind of thing that Genji and the rest had all unanimously declared back in the kitchen.
他にも
In
鬼火や
addition, some
輝
servants
く
have also
蝶々
seen
が舞ってい
will-o'-the-wisps
るのを見たという
and
使用
glittering
人も
butterflies dancing around.
カノン君もそれらしいも
Kanan-kun
のを
also saw something like that when he went
夜の
patrolling
見
one
回りの
night.
時に見たことがあると言ってました。あと最近ではお屋敷の中で深夜に不思議な足音をよく聞くと使用人の
And
間で
recently,
話
you
題です。
often hear servants talking about strange footsteps heard inside the mansion near midnight.
私たちは
We've whispered
肖
together
像画
that
の中
Beatrice
の
saw
ベア
in
ト
the
リーチェ
portrait
様が
sometimes makes
姿
herself
を消し
invisible
て
and walks through the
お屋敷
mansion.
の中をずいぶん前ですが
Happened a while ago.
私も
But
そう
even
か
I
も
have
しれ
heard
ない
footsteps
足
while
音を
patrolling at night that
夜の
resemble
見
these
回りの時に
stories.
聞いたことがあります。
That's right, she definitely said that. Exactly the same thing that I'd been told just now. Ah, but there's
でも
nothing to be afraid of.
ベアトリーチェ様は
Beatrice
親
Sama
方
is
様
another
とは
ruler of this
異なる
mansion,
もう一
separate
人
from
の
the
お屋敷
master.
のあるだから
So there's no
変に
need to
怯え
be
たりしない
unnaturally
で
afraid. If
敬
you
意を
respect
持
her,
って
I
いれ
hear she
ば
won't do anything bad.
決して悪いことはしないのだそうです。
But then she killed one of the, She killed Shannon, who seemed to believe in her. But that could have been
ただ
because she
し
tried to
敬意を
go
持たない
for...
と恐ろしいんだったね
What's her name? Natsuhi, but wasn't able to, because of the charm or whatever. However, she can be quite terrifying if you don't respect her, right?
はい。
Correct.
私が
I've
勤め
heard
を
that
始める
just
直
before I
前に
began working here.
ベアトリーチェ様
Someone
の
who
ことを
spoke badly about Beatrice Sama
悪く
fell
言
down
って
the
いたそうで
stairs
す。
and quit after receiving a large injury to their back. And The stairs, you say? Could the stairs be related to this somehow? Could the stairs have some kind of secret entrance? Because of that, there was a rumor between the servants that Beatrice-sama's anger had been brought down upon this person. If you don't respect her, you'll suffer her wrath and get hurt. So to the servants, Beatrice's existence is just as credible as the story that people pranks on Inari-san. You receive Kitsune-sama's curse. Of course, even though everyone accepts that curses and the like don't exist in the modern era, people are still afraid and still have a little respect for them. You often see it when, in a residential area, someone's building a house, they call a Shinto priest for a ceremony to honor the god of that plot of land. You might think that was just a big waste of time and money. But it's said that if the workers don't do that, a big accident will occur, so they never neglect to do it. Also hear about how, if an Inari shrine is carelessly removed during a town replanning, it'd be a curse by Kitsune-sama. I think I might have read somewhere that when the occupying forces were trying to expand an airport, tried to move an Inari-san that was in the way, the workers kept getting struck down by mysterious fevers. In modern cities like Tokyo, it wasn't rare to see modern buildings packed around an old Inari shrine, leaving the shrine itself untouched. This wasn't limited to Japan. Probably similar to how foreigners baptize babies. No, they genuinely believe it. They genuinely believe that. If I remember right, by Christian doctrine, if unbaptized souls have even the slightest amount of sin, they will still go to hell. And water on the child's forehead doesn't do anything but make them cry. Hi Kev, how are you? How have you been? And hello Cake, how are you doing today? I didn't know you were up. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Happy to be streaming again. It's nice. We had more creepy talk from Maria, and she and the three servants seem to really believe in the existence of Beatrice. So we're getting a bit into that. If by doing just that, parents can prevent their children from going to hell, they will happily go through with that ceremony. In short, even in this modern society of reason, we are still unable to throw away every trace of belief and fear. You could even say that we accept certain sorts of supernatural things, though in a passive way. The only difference on this island is that Beatrice is the object of that worship.
じゃあつまり
So, in other words,
この島でとて
if
も人
anything
間
happens
技
that
とは
doesn't seem
思えない何
explainable
か
in
が
human
起これ
terms,
ば
it's called the work of
それは
Beatrice.
ベアトリーチェの仕業だとなるわけか、シャノ
I
ンちゃん
think
言ってた
Shannon-chan
気がす
said
る
it
な
herself.
ちゃんと閉めたはずの
Windows and
窓や
doors and
扉や
locks that were
鍵が
tightly shut would be open
も
the
う一
next
度
time
見
you
回
went
り
to
に来た
check
ら
them.
開いていたとか
I still think that there's some kind of like secret passage and someone's living in the walls, eating the wall meat. And I think that's Beatrice. I think someone's sneakily living in here.
消したはずの明かりがついてい
Lights
た
that should
り
have been on went out. And lights that should have been turned off, should have been out, were turned on. Who knows? Maybe I shall be proven wrong.
んで
I
確かジェシ
remember
カ
even
は
Jessica was joking about it,
朝出
saying
か
it
け
was
ようとし
also
た
the
ら
work of
カバンが
Beatrice
見つ
when
か
she
らないの
couldn't
も
find
ベ
her
アトリー
bag
チェ
in
の
the
仕業だ
morning.
ってふざけてたんだよね
よく覚えてるな。
Your memory is pretty good.
普通なら妖精
Normally
さん
you'd
が
say
隠し
some
たと
little
でも
imps
言うと
took
ころ
them,
が
but on this island
こ
it's
の島では
Beatrice.
ベアトリーそ
Oh, it's all pretty stupid
くだらな
though.
い話さ。
Damn.
This
30
mansion has been
standing for about 30 years by now, hasn't it?
それだけになれば
It's natural for things that get old to get their fair share of ghost and occult stories.
学校の七不思議なん
The
かのよ
seven
うにね
mysteries at a school.
そこで
But that's where I'll
チェス盤をひっくり返
spin the
す
chessboard around. Huh?
つまり
Simply put, on this island there's a rule that Beatrice
人
gets
間には
blamed
で
for
きないこ
anything
と
that
は
couldn't have been
ベア
done
ト
by
リーチェの
humans.
仕業と置き換える
But
こと
who
が
does
できる
that
ルール
benefit?
があるってわけだ人間にはできないこと
Things that humans can't do.
人間は何人だ
How many humans are here?
18人だ
18.
つまり犯人
In
は
other words, the culprit is using the rules of this island to make it look like a witch
こ
committed
の
this
事件は
crime.
魔女の仕つまりそれは
Which proves that they desperately
19 人
want us
目
to
の仕
think
業
a
です
19th
よと
person did it.
訴えたくて仕方がないわけだ
Which means that it's going back to that it's one of us 18.
気に入らねえぜ
I don't like it.
全然
I
気に
don't
入らね
like it one bit. Me either.
気に入らないって何
What do you
がだ
mean you don't like it?
仮に
Let's assume some invisible 19th person exists and wants people to know they exist. If I were me, I'd do it with even more perfect timing.
完璧なタイミングでっ
What do you
て
mean
のは
by perfect
どういう意味だい
あ
Well,
あだって事
crime
件
took
は
place
深夜から
sometime
未明
between
に
the
かけて
middle
起
of
こ
the
った
night
の
and
は
dawn, right?
深夜まで
It's
話し合
some
いをし
people
て
who
た
were
り
talking
Yakin
together
してたり
until the middle of the night.
あ
Some
るいは
people
部屋
on
に
night
帰って
shifts.
寝ていたり
Some people who'd returned to their rooms and were sleeping.
どいつもこいつも
Everyone's
アリバ
alibi
イ
is
があや
really
ふやで
vague, so there's plenty of room to
十
suspect that
分
the
内
crime
部
was
犯
an
行
inside
が疑える
job.
段階だ ジョージの兄貴も
George,
エヴァおばさんに聞かされてるんだろ
Aunt Eva probably told you too, right?
内部犯行の可能
There's a
性
good
が
chance
高い
this
って
crime
話
was an inside job.
うん
Yes,
まあね
I guess.
つまり
In other words,
不可視の
this
19人
invisible
目が実
19th
在したな
person really exists and
最
wants
初の
to,
事件は自分のアピールに
wants
失
to let
敗
us
した
know it. This first crime was a complete failure.
いや、
No.
So
In the first place, they chose the wrong time of day to do it.
不可視の19人
This
目をア
invisible
ピールする
19th
ために
person really wanted to show themselves.
死んだ6人以
They
外の
had to make
12
sure
人
that the
が
crime took place
全員白であることが確定している状況下で
under
行われな
conditions
けれ
which
ばならない。
proved that the remaining 12 people were all innocent.
疑わしい人間が
So
ゼロにな
there's
ら
a
ない。
single human we
自
can
分の存在をアピー
suspect.
ル
This
できないん
19th
だ。
person's attempt to highlight their presence fails. Interesting.
.だから全員のアリバイが一番あやふやになる深夜の時間帯は
It's why near midnight, when everybody's alibis are at their Vegas,
19人目にとって
19th person
自分が
existence is
一番
also
あ
at
やふ
its
やになる時
Vegas.
間帯でもあれ。にもかかわらずその時間を選んで犯行に
And
及ん
yet,
だ。
the culprit chose to commit the crime at that time.
そんな時間に犯行を起こせば
By committing the
18
crime
人の誰
then,
かが
one
疑
of
わ
the
れるのは
18
明
would
白。
obviously be suspected. But what if they want the 18 to be suspected? What if they don't want to reveal themselves? It's very interesting.
にもかかわらず
And yet,
マリ
someone,
アに手
that
紙を
is
渡して
true.
魔女を名
Someone
乗り
handed Maria the letter
誰
and
もが
called
自分
themselves
で
a
ないと
witch,
否定している。
even though everyone denies they did it.
つまり
In other
ベアトリー
words,
チェという
you're
19
trying to say
人
that
目
one
が
of
い
the
るよう
18 is
に見せか
trying
け
to
たい
make it
人
look
間
like a
が
19th person called
18
Beatrice
人の中にい
exists?
ると
Yeah,
こう言いたいのかよ。
hurting my brain.
なんだかぶっ飛んだ発想
That's a
だな。
pretty crazy idea.
まだおふくろの
I think
屋
Mom's
敷
theory
の
about
外に
someone
不審者が
hiding
潜んでいるっ
outside
て
the
話
mansion
の
is a
方
bit
が
more
信憑性
credible.
がまさかバトラーは
Battler, don't
この
tell
客
me
間
you
の中
actually
に
think
犯人
someone
がいると
in
疑って
in
いる
this
のかよ。
room is the culprit. Battler, can't speak.
あ
I do.
あ、何者かが
Someone's trying to force
俺
us
た
to
ちに
accept
ベア
that
トリーチェが
Beatrice
存在する
exists.
と認めさせようとしている。そうさ。夕べのあの手紙からもう
That's
事件
right.
は
This
始ま
whole
ってい
thing
たんだ。
started as far back as the letter last night.
証拠も根拠も何もねえけどな。
Don't have any basis or proof.
鉄板を逆さにした限りじゃ俺の
The
見方はこん
chessboard
なと
turned
ころだ。
around. This is my best guess.
飛びまくってるにも程があるぜ。
Seriously, that's too crazy.
妙な推理小説の
You
読み
sure
す
you
ぎじゃ
haven't
ねえ
been
のか
reading
よ。
too many weird detective novels? No.
でも無視
However,
できない
it's an
着
angle
眼
we
点も
can't
あるね。
ignore.
19人目がいるか
Whether
い
there's
な
a
いかは
19th
別にし
person
て
or
も
not,
その犯人は
culprit's
確実
definitely
にこの
planning
島の
something
ルールに
involving
のっと
that
って
rule about
何か
this
を仕掛けて
island.
きている。僕はね、
Just
今
now,
バ
listening
ド
to
ラ君の
Battler
話
Kun
を聞いて
talk,
いて
I remembered something
少
that's
し
a
だ
little
け気持ち悪い
disturbing.
ことを思い出してたんだよ。
気持ち悪いことって
Something disturbing. Yes.
覚えてるかい？
Do you remember?
ベアトリーチェの手紙。
Beatrice's letter
ベアトリーチェは
said Beatrice
利
was
子の
going to
回収を
collect
行うと言っていた
interest.
ね。
Which the interest in this case seems to be us.
そしてリシトは後ろ
By
宮家の
interest,
全
it
てだと言っ
mentioned
た。
everything of the Ushiromiya family. Also, I've already made the joke. Battler Kun for Smash. Da 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 da. Da no 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 no. I'm sure that edit's already been made. I'm sure they've already like edited the Smash logo or whatever onto this. Jessica and I thought back on what Maria had read aloud the previous night.
言ってたぜ。
Yeah, it said that.
確かに言ってた。
Definitely said that.
そして利子の
The
回収を
collection
こ
of
れ
the
から
interest was
行う
going to
は
take place shortly.
黄金の
But if the
謎
riddle
を
of
解
the
いた
gold could be
その
solved, she'd
権利を
lose
失
that
うとも
right.
言ってたよな。
Isn't she jumping the gun then a bit if she already collected, you know, interest on the people? Because they did the letter, and then hours later, 6 people are dead. I feel like that's a little bit quick, isn't it? Although I guess they have had a long time to try to solve this riddle, haven't they? Don't know. I don't know. Grandfather
Ushiromiya
received the
家を
gold
再
and
興した。
rebuilt the Ushiromiya family.
つまり黄
In
金
other
を資本
words,
に生み出
according
し
to
たもの
Beatrice,
全てが利
everything
子だっ
created
て
using the
ベア
gold
トリ
as
ーチェは言
capital
っている。
counts as part of the interest.
つまり
Which means that we're included in the
冗談
interest.
きついぜ兄
That's pretty scary for a joke, Aniki.
貴まさか
You don't mean
後ろ宮家の全て
everything of the Ushiromiya family.
つまり
In other words,
じい様が生み出し
everything
たも
that
の
grandfather
全て
gave
って
birth
こ
to.
とは
Don't put it like that. I don't want to think about Mpreg.
じい様から
In
血
other
を分けた
words,
一族のこ
everyone
とを
with
指す
grandfather's blood
てのかよ
flowing through their veins, throwing flute. Blah, blah, blah. I can't fucking speak today.
あの手紙をそう読み
You
解いたな
interpret
ら
the letter that way.
この殺人は
These murders are
ベア
just
トリーチェ
Beatrice
が行った
legitimately
正当
collecting
な利子の
interest.
回収ということになる。となればこの事件はまだ続くよ。
If that's the case, these crimes will continue.
利子の回収はまだ
Because
途
the
中なんだ
collection
から
of
ね。
interest is still only halfway completed. George turned around, looking over the parlor. There were still many people who held the name Ushiromiya. Because Goda-san and Shanan-chan had been killed, we knew that not even the servants were safe, despite lacking the Ushiromiya name.
私たち
So are they planning
全員を
to kill us
殺
all?
すつもりかよ。
So it seems.
でもおかしいよジョージ兄さん。
But that's weird, George Nisan.
ならどうして
In
6
that
人だ
case,
け
why only 6 people?
他に大勢
They
殺せ
should
る
have
は
been
ず
able to kill a lot more. That is true. They could have just taken everybody out, probably.
He 下手をすれば寝込みを襲って全員を一晩で殺すことも可能だったはず。
At worst, it should have been possible for them to assault everyone while they were sleeping and kill them in a single night.
どうしてそれをしなか
Why
ったの
didn't they do that?
特別条項だよ。
The special clause. Oh.
黄金の謎を暴く
Someone
者が
manages to
現れた
solve
ら
the riddle of the
利子の
riddle.
権利
Their
は
right
失
to
わ
the
れる。
interest will be lost.
そして手
Remember how the
紙の
letter
最後に
ended?
はおじい様の黄
It
金の謎
challenged
を
us all to
みんな
solve
で
the
解いて
riddle
みろ
of
とね。
grandfather's gold.
ジーザス
Jesus! Oh, that's so weird. Just the random English. Jesus.
ようやく犯人のメッセージが分かってきたじゃねえか。
Looks like we're finally understanding the culprit's message.
つまり
In other words,
犯人は俺
culprit's
たち
trying to tell us to
じい様
solve
のあ
an,
の碑文の
to
謎を
try and
解い
solve
てみ
the
やがると
riddle
言っ
on
てる
that
わけだ。
epitaph grandfather made.
しかも
On top of that, they're saying that if we just sit around, they'll keep
どん
collecting
どん
the
利子の回
interest.
収を進めちまうつもりだ。
Realize this is all based on several guesses that are way out there. Not everything that happens in this world fits together in a perfect line. Most of the events we don't understand are only individual points. Fitting them together into a straight line, we're beginning to understand. The points are at either end of the line are really close, the line itself is more logical and easier to understand. When those points are really far away, the opposite is true. It's the distance between these points that makes us say our guesses are way out there. If the distance we span are too narrow, that means our thinking will be narrow too. Is there a difference between making guesses and reasoning? Am I just using easily made guesses to try and force this crime into a pattern I can understand? No, that's not it. You're lost in the dark and searching around with your hands. What you're doing is relying on your imagination and making guesses. Only imagination can find the points that need to be tied together. Reasoning is nothing more than the act of drawing lines between them. That's one way to look at it, I suppose. If you can't imagine, you can't reason. What I'm doing now might be way out there, but I'm sure it isn't a mistake either. What was it that frickin' Sherlock Holmes says? Like, eliminate the most ordinary and mundane, and you have... What was it? It was like, eliminate the ordinary, you have the impossible made possible, or something like that? God, I can't remember. This is gonna bother me if I don't look it up. Yeah, if you eliminate... What is this? Holmesian fallacy. If you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. Yeah. Of course, Cake knows it. What a nerd. What a nerd. Only the power of imagination can pull... Fuck. Only the power of imagination can pull clues out from the darkness. Then I can use the power of reasoning to tie those clues together. That is also the instance I was thinking of. Although I think I have read a few... It's been a long time since I've read anything Sherlock Holmes. But that was also the instance I was thinking of. Listen, Phineas and Ferb is a good show, okay? And it has a lot of bops, I'll tell you. That show has a lot of good songs. It's a lot like the process of searching out an enemy's weak spot and striking. It's okay if I'm way out there. Find a weak point first. Then we can think about how to strike. That's one way to put it. And now is the time to find points we can tie together later. Just think about the most ridiculous things and pull them together later. Make sense of it later, I suppose. Gotta think of all the possibilities. However improbable. Glass shattering? Nope. For the time being, I put aside whether a 19th person existed, and announced our theory that the goal of the culprit might have been to make us solve the riddle of the epitaph. Uncle Hideyoshi seemed to be extremely interested, but Anatsu said it was ridiculous and dismissed it. Of course. I think about it that way. Even that letter from yesterday makes sense. So maybe... Oh. Do you think maybe the culprit is someone who knows that the gold truly does exist, but hasn't been able to find it? So they're trying to put these people into a position so where they have to find it? Because if they find... Because they're in a win-win position. If they kill everybody, they get the inheritance. Great. If they, if they do find the gold, then they just kill them when they get the gold, and they find the gold, and yay, they win that way. Maybe that's what they're thinking. Motive seems to fit pretty well with the facts. Then inside, whoever it was that gave Maria-chan the letter. Beatrice exists. So we've heard. So we have heard. Oh. Yeah, no, that's definitely fair. The reading level of those books is... from what I remember. I mean, they're also pretty old books, so that doesn't help exactly. Oh! No, she was puffing up her cheeks in that cute way she'd been doing since yesterday. I couldn't think of it as cute. If you poked fun at her, it might suddenly transform into a creepy laugh. Yeah, we also got some creepy Maria moments. Not quite as bad as with the... We didn't get actual, complete, the background just changes to her face and it's creepy as hell. But, yeah, we got some creepy laugh. That's true. That is a fun way to do it. Now you know that's a lie. You know that's a lie. Hold on. We already saw that Kraus showed you the gold. You know that's a lie. Hold on. There's no hidden gold. Uh-huh. However, the culprit is blindly sure of its existence. They're trying to make us solve the riddle before snatching the gold away from themselves. And I will agree that it makes sense. See, that's what I was thinking. However, if that were the case, why start by killing those most highly ranked in the Ushomiya family? Maybe they figured that they had had much longer than everyone else to try to figure it out, so they probably didn't know. They just went for the people that probably... had tried too long. I have no idea. I see your point. If they wanted to make us solve the riddle, killing those closest to Kinzo-san doesn't sound like a good plan to me. That's true enough. And if we're going with that argument, wouldn't it have been quicker to threaten father in the first place? Threaten father in the first place. There we go. English. You'd think it'd be faster to just ask the person who wrote it, rather than trying to force us to solve it. You've got a point there. Still, I think it'd take more than your average threat to make father spill the beans. That is true. He would probably just laugh at a gun pointed at him.
金蔵さんをよく知る方なら、金
Anyone
蔵さん
who
が
knows
並大
Ginto
抵
San
の
well
脅しに
probably
は
realize
屈
that
し
he
ない
won't
ことを
bow
よ
to
く
ordinary
存じている
threats.
でしょう。
これだけの財産を持
He's
つ
the man
後
who
ろ
bears
宮家を背負われ
responsibility
る
for
方
the
です。
Ushromiya family and all its vast wealth.
今日まで
He's been
様
exposed to
々な
many
攻
threats
撃や
and
脅
attacks
迫
in
に
the
さらされ
past.
てきました。それら全てに打ち勝って
His
きたから
family
こ
only
そ
prospers today
今
because
日
he
の
was
繁
able
栄
to
がある
overcome
の
all
で
of them.
それに関しては私
That's
も同
freaking
感です。
right. That's freaking right.
うちのじい様が
Can't
脅さ
even
れて何
imagine
か
our
に従うなん
grandfather
て
obeying someone
ちょっ
because
と
of a
想
threat.
像もつかないぜ。
ジェシカ、言葉遣いがはしたないです。
Jessica, watch your language.
はい。
Yes, Mom.
なら
In
こ
that
ういう発
case,
想はどうだ
what about this idea?
ろう。いや
No,
これも
is
ぶっ
this one
飛んでるか。
also way out there? Probably, but let us hear it. I couldn't hesitate. Out there ideas are like bow and arrows. Might be hard to hit with, but it's a great weapon because you can hit enemies far away. I see most people who've died in battles were killed by arrow wounds. In battle, you can't just shoot off one arrow. Shoot a whole bunch of arrows at once, pushing forwards towards the enemy troops with a wall of them. So keep shooting over and over. I guess? That's an interesting... It's an interesting way to... Interesting metaphor there. Create a wall as you push forwards towards the truth. What a
犯
dork.
人が
The
隠さ
culprit
れ
is
た
after
黄
the
金が
hidden
狙い
gold,
ってんだ
forcing us to solve the riddle
俺たち
wouldn't
に
be
溶か
very
せるのは
efficient
効
for
率が
them.
悪い。謎を作った
It'd be
本
much
人
quicker
に
and
答えを
easier to
聞く
ask the
方が
person
手
who
っ
made
取り
it in
早
the
いぞ。
first place, which is why he's gone, maybe?
じゃあさ、
In that case,
こ
the
れは
question
つまり
is,
すべてじい
Is this
様に
all a
当てたメッ
message
セージ
directed
っ
at
てことじゃないのか。
is that why he left? In other words, these murders were a threat made against grandfather. He doesn't give a shit about his family. If he didn't tell the culprit where the gold was, his family members would be killed off one by one. But he doesn't give a shit about his family. What if we weren't the only ones being forced to solve this riddle? What if grandfather was too? But then, if you think about it that way, it explained grandfather's mysterious disappearance. Does that mean he doesn't know the answer to the riddle as well? The culprit had already attacked grandfather, and judging by the state the 6 corpses were left in, he should have been left on display somewhere with that horrible makeup added. Despite that, we still haven't found him. So does that mean grandfather's been kidnapped and is being held somewhere?
そんな、
How could...
まさか、
You
そんな。
aren't saying... How could... Oh. I don't know what he's saying. That
面
sounds
白い話じ
interesting.
ゃ。つまり、
So
お父
grandfather's
様は
being
どこかに
confined
監禁され
somewhere.
ていて、黄金
And
の
the
有田を
culprit's
話さ
saying
な
we'll
い
be
と。
killed off one
次
by
々
one if he
に
doesn't
殺
tell them
人
where
を
the
繰
gold
り返
is.
すぞと脅されているわけ。
He's probably like, I can make another family. It's fine.
その話のどこが面白いのか、理解に苦しみます。
Pains me to imagine how you find that interesting. Sorry I had to stretch. Ugh. Aunt Natsu glared at her, but Aunt Eva just smiled calmly.
この時間になっても姿を現さない以
Still
上、
haven't seen him after all
お
this
じい様
time.
が
I
事
think
件
it's
に
almost
巻き込ま
certain
れて
that
いるのは
grandfather's gotten caught
ほ
up
ぼ
in the
間違い
crime.
ないと思います。それを思えばバトラ君の仮説も
If you
無
think
視す
about
る
it,
こ
you
とはで
can't
きない
just
んじゃない
ignore
ですか。
Balor-kun's theory, right?
ジョージは黙ってなさい。
Be quiet, George. Holy shit. What the fuck, Eva?
そもそもお父
In the
様っ
first
て
place, when did
いつ
father
いなく
actually
なったのかし
disappear?
ら。
最後にお父さんの姿を見
Where's
た
the
のは
last
誰
person
や
to see father?
多分私
It
で
was
しょう。
probably me.
今朝主
This
人たち
morning,
の
when we
姿が
didn't
見
know
え
where
ない
my
と騒ぎ
husband
に
and
な
the
った
rest
時、
were, we
お父
discussed the
様の書
possibility
斎に
of
いる
them
かも
being
し
in
れないと
father's
いう話
study.
私がお部屋に
And I
お
went to
伺い
check his
して
room and greeted
そこ
him
でご挨
there.
拶をしました。そういえば
Come
書
to
斎
think
の
of it,
鍵
I've
を
been
ずっと
holding
借
the
りっぱ
key
な
to
し
his
です
study this whole time, haven't I?
源氏、
Genji, let me
返してお
return
きま
this
す。
to you. Natsu pulled out the gold key and handed it to Genji. Looking at the key, Eva giggled. Giggled.
ねえ源氏さん、
Hey, Genji-san. She's gonna ask, oh, is there another key? Oh, there isn't. Does that mean Natsuhi kidnapped him?
どうせ警
I'm
察
sure
が
the
お父
police will
様の部屋
inspect
も徹
father's
底
room
的に捜査
thoroughly.
すると、何を隠
If
し
there's
ていて
anything
も
hidden
ど
there,
うせ
it'll
暴
just
か
be
れちゃ
exposed
う。
anyway.
だったらちょっと早く
So maybe it'd be
今こ
better
の
if you
場で
just told
話
us
して
about
くれ
it
て
right
もいい
here,
んじゃな
right
いかし
now.
ら。
I don't think that kind of threat is going to work on him, but you can give it a try.
何のお話でしょう
What are you talking about?
シンプルなお父様の書斎は
Father's study is a
そ
closed
の
room
鍵
with
が
no
なけ
way
れ
in
ば
or
外
out
から
except
入
for
るこ
that
とがで
key,
きない密
right?
室、その定
I
義の
want to
確認
verify
をし
whether
たい
that's
の。
true.
お父様の部屋には入り口が一つあ
There
る。
is one entrance to Father's study.
あとは窓？
What about the window?
他に出入り口は？
Any other entrances or exits?
ありません。
There are none.
中に入る
There is
に
no
は
way to get in
入り
except
口し
the
かありません。
entrance. I don't believe that for a second. That man looks like the paranoid motherfucker to have tons of secret entrances and whatnot.
間違いなくね。
You sure about that?
秘密の隠
There
し
isn't
扉な
some
んかがあった
secret
り
hidden
はし
door
な
or
いのね。
anything?
お父様が不
Since
在であ
father
る以
isn't
上、
here, I am the
後ろ宮
highest
家の
ranked
最高
member
序
of
列
the
者は私
Ushiromia
よ。
family.
その後ろ宮家の当主代行として聞いているの。
I am asking you as a representative the Ushiromia family has.
それを理解した
Remember
上で
that when
答
you
えなさい。
answer me.
あの部屋には
Are
入り
there
口以外に
any
他に
ways
出入り
in
口
or
は？
out of that room other than the main entrance?
お父様の最高の
As
側
father's
近だったあ
closest
なたは知
aide,
って
I'm
い
sure
る
you
はず
would
よ。
know. Aunt Natsu looked a little offended at the part about the highest ranked family member, but she kept her mouth closed for the time being and waited for Genji's answer. I couldn't help but feel a little uncomfortable. Why was she going on and on about hidden doors?
カノン君も熊
You
沢さん
too,
も
Kanon-kun,
知ってるなら教えてくれない？
Kumasawa-kun-san. If you know, won't you tell me? I mean, if he gave an order to never tell anyone, that would still supersede it, considering he's not necessarily dead.
あるならあるっ
If
て
there
言っ
is
てく
one,
れた
it'd
方が
be
いい
better
の。
if you said so.
じゃないと今からあ
Otherwise,
る
a
人が
certain
とても追い
person
詰め
might
ら
be
れること
driven
にな
into
る
a
わ
corner
よ。
in a second.
隠し扉がある
Pretty
と
soon
仮
that
定
there
さ
is
れた
hidden
ら
door, then my
私の
argument
話
comes to
は全
nothing.
て水の泡。
Aunt Eva didn't specify which person was about to be driven into a corner. Following the flow of the conversation, I had to feel that she was referring to Aunt Natsuhi. Yep.
母さん、何の
Mother,
話？
what are you talking about?
ジョージは少し黙ってなさい。
George, stay quiet for a bit.
どうなの
What do you say?
源氏さん、
Genji-san.
カノン君、
Kanon-kun.
そして熊
Oh,
沢さん。
Kumasawa-san.
隠し扉は
Is there a hidden door?
ないの？源氏さんは
not.
お父様が書斎を改造
Genji-san,
し
when
た
you
時、
remodeled Father's
施工
study,
業
you
者の
must
監
have
督をして
overseen
い
the
たはず。
construction.
知らないとは言わ
I
せない
won't
わ
let
よ
you。say you don't know.
そのようなものは
There's nothing like that in the
親
master's
方様の
study.
書斎にはありません。
間違いなく。
You're sure? And now she's gonna be like, well then, since there's obviously no other key, it must have been on Natsuhi.
片翼のわしを
What
許さ
about
れたカノン
Kanon-kun, the one who's
君。
allowed to wear the one-winged eagle?
はい、
That's right.
間違いなく。
I'm sure.
親方様の書斎に
There's no
隠し
such
扉な
hidden
どありま
door
せ
in the
ん。
master's study.
熊沢さんは
Kumasawa-san? No, I haven't heard of
私
such
も
a
聞い
thing.
たことがありませんよ。
お父様と
What
親交
about
の
Dr.
深い
Nanjo?
南
You've
條
had a
先
close
生は
relationship with father.
私もそんなも
I
の
have
は
never heard of
聞いたこと
something
が
like
ありま
that.
せんな。
結構。
Very well then.
じゃあいい？
So, are you ready?
話を始めるわ
Let
よ。
me begin.
とってもシンプルな話なの。
Everyone tilted their head doubtfully, wondering what Aunt Ava was starting to talk about so proudly. Yep, she thinks that it was Natsuhi. Aunt Eva laughed triumphantly, as though she was about to reveal a secret only she knew.
お父様を最後に目撃したのは
Yep.
夏日姉さん
Yeah,
よね。
yeah, we get it, we get it. Natsuhime-san was the last person to spot father, right?
詳しい時間は
I
忘
forget
れ
the
ちゃった
exact
けど、
time, but I think it was a little
今朝の
before
9
9
時
in the
前くらい
morning.
のことだと思ったわ。姉さん、覚えて
Ne-san,
る？
do you remember?
私、
I
あなた
ran
がお
into you
父
just
様
as
の
you were
書斎
coming
か
out
ら
of
ちょうど
father's
出て
study,
くるところ
right?
に出くわしたわよね。
ええ、覚えています。
Yes, I remember.
それが何だという
What
のです
does that
か？
have to do with anything?
そして
And when was the next time
次
you
に
went
姉
to
さんが
visit
お父様
father's
の書斎を
study?
訪れ、兄さんたちの
That
遺
was
体が
after
見
we
つか
found
っ
the
てから
bodies
よ
of
ね。
Lee-san and the rest, right?
それを報告しに書斎に上がり、
Together
そこ
with
で
me, you
私
went
と
up to
一
the
緒に
study to
不在
report
を
that,
確
and we
認し
discovered
た
that he
わ。
wasn't there.
ところで姉さ
By
ん、
the way, Ne-san,
その時、
at that
お父様
time
の書
when
斎
you
に
went to
入
enter
ろうと
father's
して、
study, did
気
you
づい
notice
たことはな
anything?
かったかしら？
気づいたこと？
Notice anything?
何のことですか？
What are you talking about?
ほら
Come on.
ゴミを拾ったで
You
しょ。
picked up some trash,
畳ん
right?
だレシ
A
ート。
folded receipt.
確かに
I do
そ
seem
ん
to
なゴミ
remember
を拾
picking
っ
up
た気
some
がします。
trash.
それが何か？
How is that relevant?
そのレシ
I
ー
got
ト
that
は
receipt when I bought some
私が飛
candy
行
at a
場に着
store
く前
before
に寄った
arriving
売
at the
店で
airport.
飴玉を買った時にもら
Aunt
った
Ava pulled a
も
small
の
bag of candy out of her handbag.
ああ、あの
That
時に
receipt
買
from
っ
the
た
candy you
飴
bought
のレ
back
シー
there?
ト。でも母さん、
But Mother, what
そ
does
の
that
レシ
receipt
ート
have
の
to do
話
with
が
anything?
何と関係あるの？
ジョージ、もうちょい黙って聞いとってや。
George, just stay quiet and listen for a bit longer. Uncle Hideyoshi's expression was a little strict. Apparently, he understood what Aunt Ava was getting at. Yep, she was using that receipt as a sort of insurance that no one else had gone in, I suppose? Something like that.
本当にこれは気ま
It
ぐれよ。
really was just a whim.
何かを予
I
見してたとか
definitely didn't foresee
まして
anything.
や夏
Or
日
try
姉
to
さ
set
ん
up
を
a
罠
trap
に
for
かけ
Natsui
ようとか
Nei-san or
そ
anything
ん
like
なのじゃ
that.
断じてないんだから実はねそ
Actually,
のレ
about
シ
that
ート
receipt.
姉さんがお父様と
Nei-san,
最
you
後に会
remember
って
bumping
出
into
て
me
きて
right
そこ
after
で
the
私
last
と会っ
time
た
you
でし
saw
ょ
father, right?
その時
At that
書
time, I
斎の
wedged this
扉に
into the
私
door
が
to the
挟み込ん
study.
だものなのよ
ってことは
So what does
ど
that
ういうこと
mean?
ですか？つまり
Are you saying no one opened that door until Nazi picked up that receipt?
誰もドアを
Yeah,
開けていない。
that's what I figured.
ちょっと待ってよエヴァおばさん
Wait a second, Aunt Ava.
レシート挟むなんて
Wedging
バ
a
レ
receipt
バ
in
レ
would
だ
be
って
obvious.
小さまが外
It's
出した
possible
時
that when
に気づいて
grandfather opened the door, he
面白がっ
found
て
it,
もう一回
he
挟み
noticed
直し
it,
た可
found
能
it
性も
amusing, and stuck it back in the door. Jessica hurriedly argued back. She still didn't really know what all this meant. She realized that, whatever it would raise suspicions about her own mother.
もちろんバレ
Of
ないように
course,
レ
I
シート
folded
は
up the
小
receipt
さ
very
く折り
small so
たた
that
ん
no
だ
one
わ
would notice it.
でもね
But even if you
レシート
assume
の
he
落ち
saw
る
it
ところを
fall,
仮
you
に
no
見
way
た
of
としても
he would have no
扉
way
の
of
ど
knowing
こ
how
の
high
高
up
さの
on the
部
door
分に
it had
挟
been
み込んであ
stuck,
ったか
right?
は私は夏日
I
姉さん
checked
が
it
鍵を
while
取り出してい
Nazi
る間に
Nei-san was
確認
taking
し
the
た
key
わ
out. The receipt was still stuck not 1 millimeter away from where I put it. Of course, we have this all only on your testimony, so...
なぜそんな子供じみたいたずらをされるのか理解
I
できま
can't
せん
understand why you would pull such a childish prank.
大方
I'll bet you were the one who
私の
did
部屋
that
の
prank
扉
on
に
the
いた
door
ず
to
らを
my
したの
room,
も
too.
あなたでしょう
夏日さんの部屋の扉
不愉快な話だっ
It
た
was
ので話し
unpleasant
ま
to
せん
talk
でしたが
about, so I never mentioned
今
it.
朝目が覚めた
When
ら
I woke up this
扉の
morning,
外側に
there were signs that
あの
some
シャッターの
prank
落書
outside
き
my
と同じと思わ
room,
れ
my
る赤
door.
い塗料
It
で
was probably the same
いたずら
red
がされ
paint
てい
that
た
was
のです
scribbled across the shutter.
かきむしったような
There
気
was
持
some
ちの悪い
unpleasant
跡
marks that though someone had been tearing at the door.
なんやその
Wait,
話
what's this?
なんで今まで
Why'd you keep quiet about this until now?
申し訳あり
My
ませんあの
apologies.
後
Since so many horrible things have occurred since then, I'd completely forgotten about it
今
until
の
this
今ま
moment.
失明してい
To
ま
be
した
fair, a lot of shit has gone down.
知らないわ
I
よ
don't
そんな
know
の
anything about that.
私がしてる
I'm
のは
not
姉
talking
さんの
about
部屋
your
じゃなく
door,
て
but the
お
door
父
to
様の部
father's
屋の
room,
扉 の
right?
話よ姉さんがお父
Between
様
the
がい
time
る
you
のを確
confirmed that
認
he
し
was
て
in
か
his
ら
room and the time we
私
confirmed
と
that
一
he
緒に不
wasn't,
在
the
を
door
確
wasn't
認する
open
ま
to
での
even
間
once.
扉を使わず
How did
ど
father
う
get
やっ
out
てお
if he
父
didn't
様は
use the
外に出
door?
たのかしらそんなことは知りま
I
せん
don't know that.
私が知りたいくらい
That's
で
what
す
I want to know.
夏日姉さんの他に
Natsumi
お父さんの
Nei-san,
在
other
室
than
を
you.
確認したの
Who
は
else
誰
checked to see whether father was in his room?
ゆうべ
Last night.
金蔵
The
さん
time
と
I,
チェスを
last
した
time I
のは
met Kinzo-san was when we were playing chess. So I was with him until just before dinner. I wonder what's
それ
for
より
dinner.
後の時間は誰かおらん
Who
の
saw him
か
after that?
私です
I did.
昨夜の
I gave
晩
him
餐
his
の
dinner
お世話を
last
して
night.
はい僕と
Yes,
シャノンも
Shannon
一緒
and
で
I
した
were with him.
ここまでは
So
間
at the
違い
time,
なく
father
お
was
父さん
definitely
は
still
部屋
in
に
his
いたや
room.
ろなだがな
However,
夏日
Natsumi
姉さん
Nei-san,
不在だった所
if you
在
found
は
out that he
窓
wasn't
も
there,
扉も
it
全
looks
て
like
閉
all
め
the
切られ
ways
た
in
状
and
態
out
だった
or
そう
out
じゃ
of
ない
the
か
study were closed, right?
なのに夏日さんは
Even
今朝
so,
お
said you
父
met
さん
with
に
him
会った
this
話
morning.
をした言うと
私には
I
皆
don't
さんが
understand
何
why
を
everyone
契
has
約に
become
なった
so
の
gloomy.
か分かりません
Oh, you will. You will.
どなたか説
Someone
明して
please
くださいます
explain
か
it to me. Father
父
and
さん
mother.
と母さんは夏日おばさんが今
Are
朝
you saying that what Nazi
Oji-sama
says
に
about
会ったと
meeting
いうのは
grandfather this morning?
嘘だと言って
Was
い
a
るのかい。
lie?
嘘なんかつくもん
Like
か
how
よ。
she'd lie about
母さん
that?
は
Mom's
潔白だぜ。
guiltless.
なんで嘘なんかつくんだよ。
Why would she lie? Because she's got him tied up somewhere, I guess? That's what they're thinking or something, I suppose?
ジェシカ
Jessica,
言葉遣いを
I
直
keep
しなさい
telling
と
you
いつ
to
も言っ
watch
てい
your
ます
language. That's what you're worried about right now? All at once, the whole room was in an uproar. Aunt Eva and Anatsi confronted each other across the parlor table. God, I hope it was just... They immediately start, like, fucking... throwing down. With George confronting Jessica. What the heck's going on?
複数の人
Many
間の
people
目
spotted
撃
him
がある
last
のは
night, right?
昨晩までよ。でも今朝
But
以
since this
降
morning, the
お父
only
様の
claims to
姿
have
を見
seen
たと
father
称
is
するの
Natsume
は
san.
夏日姉さん
Is she
た
still
だ
mad
一
that
人
Natsuhi got, like, father's... Is she still mad about that shit? Oh my god, you're so petty, Aunt Eva.
そして私
And
の
then there's
挟
that
んだレ
strange
シートが
fact we
物語
learned
る
from my receipt.
奇妙さあ
So, can we
この
connect these
点と
points
点は
together?
どうやれば結べるのかしら
Aunt Eva urged everyone to imagine it. Sure, that receipt could become an important plot point. I didn't know other points to tie it to, or how. Try searching for the answer Aunt Eva probably wants. Find that Aunt Natsuhi lied and acted as though grandfather was in the room this morning. Has that fact been exposed by a whim of Aunt Eva's?
わけわかんねえぜ。
I don't get it at all.
なんで母さんが嘘
Why
を
would
つか
Mom
な
have
きゃ
to
ならない
lie?
その理由
She
がねえ
had
じ
no
ゃねえか
reason
よ。
to, right?
その理由は
That's
私も
what
知
I
りた
want
い
to
わよ
know.
でもねジェ
But
シカちゃ
Jessica-chan,
んお父様の
you
材
can't
質
be
を
sure
偽
she
る
had no
価値
reason
が
to lie
全く
and
な
say
い
that
とは
grandfather
限ら
was
ない
in the
の
room.
よ推理小説
After
でも
all,
た
you
ま
see it
に
in
出て
mystery
くるでしょ
novels every now and then.
生存時刻を偽ることによって
That trick where people
自
fake
分
the
の
time
ア
of
リバ
death
イ
to
を
create
偽
an
証す
alibi
る
for
トリック
themselves.
よ
What a surprise.
なんだそりゃ。
What are you talking about?
そんなの聞いたこ
Never
とない
heard
ぜ
of。that.
お父様はま
We
だ見
still
つから
haven't
ないけ
found
れど
father yet,
普
but it's
通に
pretty
考
natural
え
to
れ
assume he's
ば
already
もう
been
殺され
killed.
ていると考えとなれば
If that's true, there's no doubt we'll find his
近いう
corpse
ちに死体は
soon.
見その時
At that point,
死
the
亡
time of
時
death
刻を
could be
うまく
cleverly
偽ることが
faked.
できれば
Natsuhi
夏
San
日
will be
姉
able to
さん
create an
はアリバイを
alibi.
作ることができるのよわかる
Do you understand,
みんな
everyone? This morning, when Natsuhi confirmed that grandfather was there, she lied, and he was already dead at that time. Then she moved the body to some other location and tampered with it so that when we find it, we'll think he was just killed a second ago. Make it possible for her to create an alibi, even just by staying with the rest of us. And she could say I heard someone screaming, dash over there and become the first to find the body along with everyone else. A self-report, as they say in Amogus. Is that what Aunt Eva's saying?
バカバカしい
Ridiculous.
推理小説
After
な
all,
ら所
detective
詮は
novels
娯
are
楽
merely
小説
books for the purpose of entertainment. That's your argument?
そんなものばかり読んでいるから
You can only think of such an indiscreet idea because you read them all the time.
そうだぜ。
That's right.
死亡時刻
Even
を
if she
少
did
しく
try
らい
to
ごまか
fake
した
the
って
time of death a
そん
little,
なの
all that would be
警察が
blown
検視
away
す
in
りゃ
an
一
instant
発
once
で
the
バレる
police
じゃね
did
えか
their
よ。
autopsy.
古典の世界だった
It
ら
might
と
have
も
worked
か
in
く
the past, but do you
現
really
代
think
日
that
本
kind
で
of trick
そ
would
んな
work
の
in
に
modern
本気で
Japan?
おかしいぜ。
Doesn't make sense.
そうか
Do
し
you
ら
think so?
今朝
This
南條
morning,
先
when
生
Dr.
が亡くな
Nanjo
った
looked
人
at the
たちの
corpses,
死体
he
を見
was
て
only able to give a
死亡
vague
時
estimate
刻
of
を
the
曖
time of
昧に見
death,
積もられ
right?
たわよ検視結果は
Autopsy
環
reports are
境や
very
個
easily
体差に
affected
非
by
常
the
に左
environment
右
and
されやす
individual
い
differences.
数時間
It's a
単位
very
で誤差
relative
の出る
estimate
非
with
常
an
に
uncertainty
ア
of
バウトな
several
ものなの
hours.
よしかも
And
困ったこと
unfortunately,
に
the police's
警察
scientific
の科学的な
investigation
捜
will
査
have to
は
wait until
明日
tomorrow.
にならないとできないそこまでの正確
It
な
wouldn't
死
be
亡
easy
時
to
刻を
measure the
測る
correct
ことな
time
ん
of
て
death so
ジェ
accurately.
シカちゃんの
Even
言う
in modern
現代
Japan.
日本ねえ南條
Isn't that
先
right,
生
Dr. Nanjo?
検視は
Examining the
と勘の
corpse
必要
is an
な
extremely difficult
非常に
task that
難しい作
requires
業
both experience and instinct.
誤診率も
I
非
have
常
heard
に
that
高
there's
い
a
と
high
聞いており
chance
ま
of
す
a mistaken diagnosis.
確かに
I
ほんの
imagine
数
it's
時間
very
程度の誤差
possible
を
for
出して
this
しまう
reading
こと
of
は
just a few
大
hours
い
to
に
occur.
あり得るでしょうな
しかしアリ
However,
バイの
for
世
an
界
alibi,
は
that's
そう
more
いった
than enough.
古典のトリック
It's an old
十分に通用する
trick that
トリ
works
ック
well
だ
enough.
夏日姉さん
Natsumi-san,
わしら
it's not
あん
like
たを
we
疑
want
い
to
たいわ
suspect
け
you,
ないよ
okay?
ね
Just want you to prove your innocence so we don't have to suspect you.
蘭の潔白を示せというのですか。
Ma'am, put down the gun. What is this innocence you want me to prove?
今朝私は
This morning, I
確かにお父
definitely
様
met
に
with
弱い
father.
そして心の
He
中に
told me to keep the
固い
one-winged
足を刻
eagle
めとお言葉を
engraved
い
in
た
my
だ
heart.
あのお言葉をも否
Are
定
you
すると
denying
いうの
that
で
he
す
said
か。
that too?
それだけは
I will certainly
断
not
じて許
permit
せま
that.
せん。お父様がかけ
I
られ
won't
た
let
言
you
葉
deny
まで
that
も否
father
定す
said
ることを
those words.
断じて許せません。
あるいは
Or maybe
お父
father's
様の
body
遺体
won't
は出て
appear
こないの
anyway.
かしら。普通失
No,
踪
no, your
は
person has been
死
missing
亡
for
宣
7
告
years
に
before
7
they're
年
officially
かかる
dead.
もの。余命残りわずかなお父
Wouldn't
様を
that be a clever
7
way
年
to
も
extend
延命し
father's
その
nearly
財産
finished
を独
life
占
under the
するに
7
は
years? Keep all of his wealth for
なんとも
yourself.
うまいやり方じゃな
Oh,
い。
but if he gets exposed, if Aunt Natsui gets framed, all the wealth goes to you, doesn't it? Wouldn't that be a clever way to get all the wealth for yourself? Aunt Ava? You seem to have a very good motive as well for framing her. I don't like these shit-headed characters that control the flow of the conversation, but they never get called out on their own plot holes. Although I guess she's already been accused. They can accuse her some more. Oh!
聞き捨てなりません。
I can't let you get away with saying that.
それ以上
I
は
can't let you get away with saying any more.
私は
I am
後ろ
Ushiro
にはなつ
Natsui.
この身に片翼
Though
の
I
足
do
を
not
ま
have
と
the
う
right
資
to
格は
wear the
なくとも
one-winged eagle on my
胸の
heart,
中にしか
my
も刻
body
まれてい
is
ます。
certainly engraved on my heart. Oh shit.
当主跡継ぎの
What
ク
do
ラ
you
ウスの
think
妻
you're
と
saying
して
to the wife of Kraus,
その責務を
successor
代
to the
行
head
す
and
る
the one
私
who
に
will
向かっ
act
て
as such in his
何たる
place?
暴言。
何？
What's this?
その銃で
Are you
私を
going to shoot me with that gun?
いいわ
Go
よ。
ahead. If only you just shoot. You're just desperate because you can't think of a way out, right?
やりなさいよ。
Do it. Just try
暴
to
力で
obscure
真
the
実を
truth
ご
with
まかしてごらんな
violence.
さいよ。
You? Wasn't like Aunt Natsu had been actually holding that gun at the ready and threatening anyone. But as she was egged on by Aunt Eva, she did hold it at the ready. Unsurprisingly, when things got to this stage, Jessica and Genji-san tried to stop her.
奥様
But
どうかお気をお
please calm
静めくだ
yourself.
さい
母さんは嘘なんかついて
Mom,
な
not
い。
mine.
ならこんなの
So
聞
there's
き捨
no
てなきゃ
reason。for you to listen to this.
落ち着いて
Calm
な
down,
夏井姉
Natsumi-san.
さん確かに
All you gotta do is swear that father was definitely in that room.
それだけなのに
Why are you getting so worked
な
up?
んでそんなに取り乱しとるんや
それもそう
That
で
is
す
correct.
夏日さんは嘘をついてい
Natsumi-san
な
is
い
lying.
それだけのこと
Shouldn't
じゃあ
that
り
be
ま
the
せん
end of it?
だから説
Then I
明
want you
して
to
ほしい。
explain.
お父様がど
How
う
did
やって部
father
屋から
manage to
いなくなった
disappear
の
from the
か。
room?
窓は内側か
The
ら
window
し
was
っかり
closed
閉じ
tight
られ
from
て
the
いた。
inside.
扉も同じ
Same
よ
was。true for the door, right?
今朝夏日姉
This
さんが
morning,
間
if you
違い
really
な
met
くお
with
父様や
father,
夏日姉さん
he
には
must explain
開
how
か
this
ぬ
how
扉
father
の密
disappeared from
室
this
からいかに
unopenable
してお父
door
様が
closed
部屋
room
からいなくな
scenario.
じゃないと。
If you don't, that mean you're lying
姉さ
after
んが
all,
嘘つ
right?
きってことにやっぱりなっちゃうもん。
あなたという人
Father, do you plan to mock
ど
me?
こまで私を愚弄すれば
反論
If
した
you
いな
want to
らぜひ
argue
しなさい
back,
な。
go ahead. That's right. Try explaining it right here, right
そ
now.
うしたらあなたを
You
疑った
do
ことを
apologize
謝ってあ
for
げてもいい
suspecting
わ
me.
あの書斎
How
の
did
密室
father
から
manage to get out
お
from
父
that
様
closed
はい
room?
かにして抜け出したのか。
そんなこと
I cannot
説明もで
explain.
きません
There's no need for me to
不
do
要で
so.
す。
Really?
なら
Then
私が
let
説
me
明してあげるわよ
explain it.
私の立
Let's
場
take
も
the
姉
best
さんの
parts from
立場
my
も
perspective
い
and
い
yours
と
and
こ
come
ろ
up with a
に
more
とても仲良しな
friendly
説明なんだ
explanation.
から姉さんの言
I'll
う
believe what you said about
今
father
朝の
still
時点
being in
でお
his
父
room this
様が在
morning.
でも
However, the next time the door was opened, Father wasn't there. You don't have any objections so far, right? I have no desire to hear anything more you have to say. Shut your frivolous mouth. I agree with that, Nazi. Shut your frivolous mouth. Shut the fuck up. Shut your face up. She's reasoning that when Natsuhi left that time, she took Father with her. My reasoning goes like this, okay? I can confirm that on both occasions, you were the only ones to go through that door. The receipt proves it. So what's the answer to the puzzle of how Father left the room? The window! He was sent out the window. Natsuhi-san threw Father out the third-story window of the study into the courtyard. That's... okay, that's quite a... You! Madam, please endure it.
Eva-sama,
Please stop this. After that, when you left and said you were going to check the doors and windows, you took Father's corpse, which had fallen in the courtyard, and hid it. That was probably when you took some measures to fake the time of death, right? This ties in with the case regarding Kraus-Nissan's arrest. Also the case regarding Beatrice last night. It's a really good case we've got reason to suspect Natsuhi-san in all those cases. Normally I wouldn't want to say this. Now that it's all out in the open, there's nothing else I can do. Stop playing good cop to her bad cop. Stop that. You're enabling your wife. Stop it. I wanted to believe you're a good guy, but you're also... you're just working along with her, pretending like you're the good cop. I don't like it. Because you know you have so much to gain from... framing Natsuhi here. Please, Natsuhi-san. Please explain how you can be innocent. Okay, dokes. I don't know if I'll be going for too much longer. I've been going for, I think, about 3 hours. So I don't know how much longer I'll be going. But I'll probably still be going when you get back. Boys, I can't help but suspect you. Trying to find a good place to stop. Why me? Why must I, Ushiromiya Natsuhi, be insulted like this? Looks like we've gotten everyone's views on record now. Oh. It's useless. Oh, it's all useless. Aunt Eva. What do you mean, useless? Jessica looked up at me, hanging on to my every word. Aunt Eva's expression was confident as ever. Useless, you say? What is? Battle-kun, tell me. You're only convinced it was Aunt Natsuhi, because you're only looking at the case from a single angle. It's not like I'm defending her, but that bluff of a checkmate isn't gonna fly. I think your reasoning regarding that receipt was passable. It's not a bad thread of logic, but I'd only give it a grade of 65 at best. This were an exam would be bad enough to give you extra lessons in detention, right? Oh my. Well, how do you think anyone could break through the door sealed by my receipt and make Father disappear, other than by my theory? It's true your theory's an interesting one. If you could say for sure that there was no way to make grandfather disappear, then you probably would be able to prove that the last person to see him, not Natsuhi, was guilty. However, since there's still a possibility she's innocent and these accusations are false, you can't be sure about that.
そうだと断言。
Then, Badler, can you saying someone other than Natsune-san made grandfather disappear? It had been possible for anyone else to do it.
私のレシー
My
トが
receipt
それを
proves
証明
that,
してしまう
right?
一度目に書
After
斎
the
に訪
first
れ
time
た
she
夏
visited
姫
that
さん
study,
そして二度
and
目に
until the
私と
second
訪
time
れる
when
ま
we
での
visited
間
together,
書
study
斎は
was a
完全
perfect
に密
closed
室で
room.
密室
When the
開封
shield
後
was
には
broken
失
on the
踪して
closed
い
room,
る
he was already missing.
これで夏姫さ
That
んが
doesn't
犯人
prove
じゃない
she's
と
the
いうなら
culprit. What kind
どん
of
な
trick
ト
could
リ
they
ックがある
have
っていうの
だから
used? Like I
65
said,
点なんだよ、エ
Anteva,
ヴァおば
only
さん。
65 points.
じゃあここで
So let's try spinning the
チェス
chessboard
盤をひっ
around,
くり返す。
shall we?
どうやって
Question isn't how someone
外
managed
部
to
か
make
らじい様
grandfather
を
disappear
失
from the
踪させる
outside.
か。どうやっ
What do you
て
think about grandfather disappears
内
from
部
the
からじい様
inside?
が失踪するかって考え
Welcome
る。
back. Battler's
扉
getting
に
her
はレシートが
ass.
挟まれ
There
て
were
い
the
た
receipt
から
stuck in it,
使
so
用
it
さ
couldn't
れ
have
て
been
いない。
used.
窓も
He also couldn't have gone through the
出る
window
こと
because
は
you
できた。
can't lock it from
外
the
側からは
outside.
施錠でき
When
た。
Eva visited
し
the
かもエ
study,
ヴァお
she
ばさん
checked to make sure
書
it was
斎を訪
locked.
れた時だから窓も使用
So
さ
the
れていな
window
い。
also wasn't used.
その時点で
At that point, the
確
study
かに書
really
斎
was
は
a
密
closed
室だった。
room.
これは認
You
める
have
し
to
かない
accept。this. However, study didn't remain a closed room forever.
レシートの封印さえ
The
解
seal
かれれ
created
ば
by the receipt was removed.
扉は
It'd
使
be
用可能
possible
になり
for
脱
someone
出
to
可能に
escape
な
by
る。
the door.
つまり
In other words, the
夏代おば
question
さん
isn't how
どうやって
Nazi
じい
he
様を
made
失踪さ
grandfather
せたかじゃない。
disappear. You need to think about how he's able to escape.
じい様の書斎は
Grandfather's study isn't an
ただの書斎
ordinary
じゃねえん
study,
だよ。
right?
源氏さんの話じゃ
According to Genji-san,
トイ
there's
レ
a
から
toilet
キ
and
ッ
a
チン、
kitchen and
ベッ
even
ド
a
ルームまであ
bedroom,
る。
almost
ちょい
like
と
a
した
little
家並みじゃ
house. Example, what if he was
例えば
hiding under the bed and the two of you only
ベ
thought
ッ
he
ドの
was
下にでも
missing?
潜ってエヴァおばさんも
Anteva,
そこま
even
で
you
調べてき
didn't
たわけ
check
じゃねえ
that
だろ。
far, right?
そして
And then the two of you went
おば
back
さん
down
た
the
ちは
stairs
失踪し
thinking
た
he
と思い
wasn't there.
この時レシー
At
トは
that
もう
time, the
ない。
receipt was already gone.
つまり
In other words, if a
じいさまは密
grandfather
室
had
で
been
ある
hiding in
間
his room the
は
whole time,
部
it
屋
was a
に隠れ
closed
つつ
room.
エヴァおばさんたちをやり
Escaped
過ご
after
した
letting the
後
two
に
of
部
you
屋
go
から
past
脱出
him,
す
we
る
can
ことで
crack this closed room right
こ
open.
の密室を破ることができる。
What are you talking about?
どうしてお
Why
父
would
様がそ
father
んな
need
妙
to
なこと
escape
を
the
して
room
部
in
屋を
such
抜
a
け出さな
bizarre
きゃならない
fashion?
の口頭無形
Don't
に
be
も
so
程があるわ
absurd.
よ
あ
Yeah, it might be
あ、口
absurd.
頭無だが
However, it shows there's
それで
still
も
a possibility Aunt
夏代おばさ
Natsuki
ん
is
が濡れ
being
衣かもしれ
falsely
ない可能性は
accused.
エヴァおばさんのレシートは
Your receipt
完
wasn't
璧じゃねえ。
perfect.
チェスで言えば
In chess, we might call that
チェッ
check,
クだが
but it
チェ
isn't
ックメイトじゃ
checkmate.
ねえ。
Got so much fucking talk about chess.
そして
But the thing that really
俺が
pisses
最
me
高
off
に気に入らねえのはそれを
is
夏
how
代お
you're
ばさんに
pressuring
釈
Aunt
明しろ
Natsuki
と
to
迫っ
explain it, then claiming she
そ
must
れが
be
できなきゃ
guilty if
プ
she
ロだって断
doesn't.
定しようとしたエヴァおばさんのそ
Guilty
の論
until
法さ。
proven innocent, huh?
そ
If
れ
you
が
want to
分
go
かり
down
通
that
った
road, then why don't you let me,
この後ろ宮ここでもう一回
Ushiromiya Battler, spin the chessboard around one more time? They really do love chess. Why do you want to pressure her so much?
エヴァおばさん
Aunt Eva, according to your
あん
own
たの本当に
argument,
あんたと秀
you
吉お
must
じさん
explain to us why you and Uncle Hideyoshi couldn't
親
have
父た
killed
ち6
those
人を
six
殺
last
害して
night
から
and then
どこ
casually
のプ
returned
ゲ
to
ス
the
トハウス
guest
に帰ったん
house.
じゃないってことをこの場で釈明してもらう夏代おばさんに
You've been
釈
trying
明
to
をし
force Aunt Natsuki to
あん
explain,
たにはもち
so
ろ
I'm
ん
sure you can prove your own
自
innocence,
身の
right?
潔白を釈明できるじい様の遺
Especially
産
now
が
that all of
全部転
grandfather's
がり
wealth
込む
is
エヴ
suddenly
ァおばさん
plopped down
よ
right into your hands.
そうだぜエヴァ
That's
おばさんだ
right.
って
You're
十分
suspicious
怪
enough
しいじゃない
yourself,
かよ
aren't you?
母さんがじい様
You
の
say
最
mom's
終目
suspicious
撃者だ
because
と
she was the
怪しい
last
って言う
person
なら
to see
エヴ
him.
ァおばさんだって
What about you,
父さん
Aunt
たちの
Eva?
最終
The
目
last
撃者
person
じゃ
to
ない
see
か
Dad and the rest.
バトラーの言う
Just
通
like
りだぜ
Battler said,
自分
prove
た
that
ち
you
が
two
殺してない
weren't
って
the
ことを
ones
証
who
明し
killed
てみ
them.
せろよ
Is this going to be a case where everyone's guilty, but they're guilty of different things? They all killed, like, different people. And it, like, Nazi killed the dad, or the grandfather, but... that would be interesting.
僕も
Mother,
お母さんの
I
推理は
also think your
少し
reasoning was
勇
a
み足だと
little
思うな
overeager.
レシートの件は
I'm sure the receipt
確
was
か
an
に重要
important
なヒン
hint.
トだと思う でもそれは
But like
バトラ
Badler
君
Kun
の言う
said,
通り
it's not enough to
夏
prove
日お
that
ばさんが
Anatsi
何
was
がしかの犯人である
responsible
ことを
for
断
some
定で
plot.
きるもの僕たちは等しく
We're all equally
全員が
suspicious.
夏日おばさ
It's
んだけ
not
が
right
責
for
められる道
Natsuki
理は
to
な
be
い
persecuted.
誇り高きお父様が床に這いつくばってベッド
Our
の
proud
下
father crawling under his bed.
そんなざれ
You
言で
call
説明がつ
nonsense
くと
like
思っ
that
て
an explanation?
それなら
In
レ
that
ボおば
case,
さ
why
んの
don't
先
you
に説
explain
明しろよ
first?
特によ
Who
誰
killed
がどう
those
やって
six
殺
and
した
how?
そ
Then
して
try
自分
showing
が
us
関わってい
proof
ないと
that
いう
you
証拠
weren't
を示して
involved.
みろってんだ
Well, what's that? What's up with that? Jessica? Jessica? Oh, I think they did say she had breathing issues before.
お嬢様、お嬢
Hold
様。
on, didn't they say that? Give me a second. Weak bronchi is sometimes assailed by sudden asthma attacks. Okay, yep. Milady, milady! Jessica suddenly started coughing. First, I thought she was just choking after yelling too loud, but before long I realized how painful it looked. Jessica kept coughing and choking, down on her hands and knees. Jessica, hang in there. Dr. Nanjo.
Jessica-san,
Jessica, your inhaler, quickly. No, wait. I have one here with me. Dr. Nanjo pulled a bronchodilator inhaler from his own bag, which was lying on the sofa, and handed it to Jessica. Come to think of it, 6 years ago, didn't Jessica sometimes break into violent coughing fits and have to use that? However, 6 years ago, I never saw Jessica look like she was in this much pain.
兄貴、
Aniki,
ジェシカって
was Jessica's
こ
asthma
んなに
always
喘
this
息
bad?
ひどかったっけ？
ここ数年で
It's
だい
gotten
ぶ
a
悪
lot
くなったん
worse
だよ。
these last few years.
大丈夫な時はいい
It's
ん
no
だけど
problem
ね。
when she's normal.
突然発作が来る
When an
と
attack comes
咳が止ま
suddenly,
らなくなるん
she
だよ。
can't stop coughing anymore. Oof. Yeah, ugh, that does suck.
お嬢様、
Lady, your
お
medicine.
薬です。さあ。
Here. Taking the inhaler from Kanan-kun, Jessica used it with a practiced hand. Looked like her throat would still itch for a while, but she had it under control.
大丈夫かよ、ジェシカ。
Are you okay, Jessica?
びっくりしたぜ。
You scared me.
大したことねえよ。
It's no big deal. Don't worry about it.
心配すんじゃねえぜ。
Beads of sweat covered Jessica's whole body and she couldn't hide her rough breathing, but it looked like her sudden attack had calmed down for now. Its disturbance had made the dangerous atmosphere up until now seem slightly unfocused. But that's fine. A kind of battle of mutual suspicion is completely unnecessary. Think about it, finding alibis for each other and looking for the culprit is probably meaningless. After all, we're just powerless, ordinary people. When the police come tomorrow, they'll definitely employ cutting-edge techniques and investigate the case thoroughly, solving all the riddles and arresting the culprit.
確かにバトラ君の言う通りかしら。
Perhaps Battler-kun is right after all.
夏日姉さんが
Just as
疑わしいよう
Natsuine-san
に
is suspicious, I
私
can't
たちも
ignore the
疑
fact
わ
that
しさ
I'm
を拭い
suspicious
てい
too.
る。それを今議論し
Arguing
合うのは
about that
確か
now
に
will
不毛
surely be
ね。
unproductive.
明日
Everything will be
警
fine
察
if we
に
just
全
leave
てを
it to the
任せれ
police
ば済むだけ
tomorrow.
の話よ。でもバトラ君だ
But
って
don't
知
you
り
want
た
to
いんじゃ
know
ない
too, Battler-kun?
犯人を
Who the culprit is?
大切な人を
Don't
失
you
っ
want
た
to let
痛
them
みを
know
思い
the
知らせ
pain
て
you
やるた
feel
め
from
に
losing someone
一秒
precious
で
to
も
you
早
as
く知
soon
り
as
たいんじゃない
possible?
I
won't deny that.
これだけの上
Even
等を
one
決
day
め
would
てく
be
れや
too
がっ
long
た
to let the
野郎。
wonderful bastard who's behind
た
this
とえ
go.
一日であったとしても。でも、
But that doesn't mean I want to
だからといっ
suspect
て
one of the 18.
さっきはああ言ったが、
No, I said what I said earlier. I
俺
don't
は
want to suspect you,
エヴァおばさんだ
Eva.
って俺にとってのエヴァおば
To
さん
me,
は
you're an awesome aunt who's always fun and
Jamaica.
playful.
いつも楽しくさせてくれる。そんなおばさんと
I don't want to trade insults with
こ
a
んな
not
罵
like
り合いは
that.
したくねえ。ここにいる誰だって
I don't want to
そ
do
んな
that
ことは
with
望んでねえ
anyone
はずさ。だろ
right?
みんな。
Everyone?
バトラ君に同
I
じ
feel the same way as Battler-kun.
意味のない罵
It's
り合いだね。
pointless to trade insults.
多分
It's probably just the
これだ
stress
けの
built
人
up
数が
because so many people have
朝
been
から一
crammed
と
into
ころに
one
ずっと
place
集ま
since
ってる
morning.
からみんな
Don't really have any definitive evidence. Although, you know, there's the argument that you want to get this out of the way so there aren't any more victims, but also trying to do this before there's actual definitive evidence just leads to more suspicion, more tension. More pressure. Pressure. Pressing down on me. Pushing down on you. No man asked for. Under pressure. Probably. It is only natural. It may not be my place to say it, but I think we should all relax as much as possible.
Eva. わしらも
I think
頭
we
を
better
冷や
cool
す
our
べきと
heads
ちゃう
too.
か。レシートの件は確
Receipt's
かに
definitely a big
お
clue for
父さんの
figuring
失
out how
踪を
father
探る上で
disappeared.
警察が来たら
Should tell the
話
police
すと
about it
いいや
when
ろ
they come.
そうね
That's right.
そう
Right.
レシートの
I
一
just
件
felt a
で
little triumphant when I
つい
figured
鬼
out
の
that part
首を
with the
取ったような気
receipts.
持ちになっちゃったのね。確かに
Of
夏日姉
course,
さん
it
だけ
isn't
を疑う
fair
の
to
はフ
only
ェアじゃない
suspect Natsuri-ne-san, right?
私たちだって
We're
等しく
just
疑
as
わしい
suspicious.
でもねバトラ
But
君
still, Battler-kun,
レシートの
at least
話
the
だ
part
けは
about the
本
receipt
当
is
よ
real, okay?
これ
Don't forget.
忘れそしてこれ
And
がどう
try
いう
thinking
意
deeply
味を
about
持
it,
つ
what
か
it means one more
も
time,
う一度
okay?
よく考えてみてね
Aunt Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi stood up. Looks like they planned on leaving the parlor.
結局私たちはこ
In the
ん
end,
な
it's
推理ごっこ
pointless
し
for
て
us
も
to
意味
keep
はない
playing
のよ
detectives.
だってどうせ警察
After all, the
が
police will reveal everything
全て
anyway.
明かしてくれるんですもの
That's right. If we don't play this detective game, the typhoon will pass. When those lively seagulls return to the harbor, everything will settle itself. That's right. If you think about it, this kind of crime is completely trivial. Oh, Umineko, When the Seagulls Cry. That's the title. So the title is When the Seagulls Cry, Everything Ends, I suppose. Which is interesting. That kind of juxtaposes with Higurashi, When the Cicadas Cry. Because that's kind of when everything starts. That June summer when everything goes to shit. Interesting. So this is kind of a When the Seagulls Cry, that's, you know, the fat lady singing, bringing everything to a close. But in Higurashi, that was the beginning of the end. Well, that was the beginning of the story, I suppose. But mostly endings, because oh my god, there is so much death in that game. And it is all so shitty. I actually have, I think like the first 3 chapters of the Questions arcs of Higurashi on Steam. But I have already played that, so it wouldn't be, you know, new. Maybe I'd read that if anyone would be interested in that, but that'd probably be way after I'm done with this. Definitely be resolved. Even if we do nothing. When the Seagulls Cry. Title drop.
これ以上夏日姉さんも私の顔を見て
And I
いて
think
くれ
that's
な
where
い
I'm
で
going
し
to
ょ
end it for today. I am tired and I need to eat some lunch. And this is my first stream back in a little while, so I don't want to do too long of one. I don't want to wear myself out too much because I also want to stream tomorrow. And I'm thinking I want to stream. So I've talked with my sister a little bit about this before, but there's a game called Swordcraft. Swordcraft, what is it? It's Summon Night, Swordcraft Story, that I have played, but I want to play it on the stream, and I want to play it again, just because it's a really fun game. It's this GBA, like, game where you're on this island, of, like, basically everyone's a blacksmith. And, you have to, like, go into this dungeon to hunt for, like, ore and parts and stuff to smith into new weapons to fight in a tournament, while there's a story. So it's actually very interesting. It's also, there are also some game elements, which is very surprising considering it's on the GBA. So it's a pretty old game. But, yeah, it's a very fun game. I had a lot of fun with it, and I definitely want to play it, and then I want to probably play the sequels. Because I think they're the second one was also on GBA, and then I think the third one is, but it only came out in Japan, but I think there's a fan patch for it. So I wanna play that tomorrow. I haven't. The thing is, a lot of my games are like really good, but they don't have. They're not what I would consider fun. Like with their gameplay, like even like Golden Sun, it's fun, but it's like it's just RPG stuff. With this, it's like it's really interesting because it's like you have like top-down exploration, and then it switches to like a 2D like fighting game almost with the weapons you use. So it's not like a turn-based RPG. It's like it turns into like a fighting game whenever you get into fights, which is really cool. And it's a really fun game. I really enjoyed playing it, and I want to play it again. But yeah, so that's probably what I will do tomorrow. Probably gonna be at my usual time, which is like what 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, I believe. So I really want to make a schedule, but I'm also really bad at keeping to schedules, so that's part of the reason I don't usually put one up. But yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow. I think I know who we're going to raid into. He already stopped by earlier and said hi. Yeah, I'm really glad you could stop by as well. I really appreciate it. But yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna try to get back into streaming some more now that I'm feeling better. And streaming actually helped me feel better, I think. I feel a lot better than I did this morning. I was kind of really tired and exhausted, but that's how I usually am anyways. But anyways, thank you everybody for coming. This has been... Oh, actually let me say before I forget. This has been a wild fucking ride as usual with Umineko. We got a lot more family. We learned a little bit more about like what happened. We had a family showdown. Holy shit. Eva versus Natsuhi, and we learned a bit more. That receipt is gonna definitely come in handy later. So I don't think Ava was lying about it, but if she was, that would be a good way to create an alibi for herself now, wouldn't it? But anyways, let's raid into D-Type. D-Type is playing some Blaze Blue Central Fiction, which is a fighting game. I don't know too much about the Blaze Blue series. I know it's like Guilty Gear. It's like it was before Guilty Gear. But anyways, see you guys soon. Bye. get attention. Oh shit. Whoops, my bad.